Marco.
I took a full load.
Marco. I need some more Marco.
Yep. You know, let me adjust the volume of the microphone. You know, they thought they could stop us, but they can't stop us because we can't stop and we won't stop. Because we can't stop and we won't stop. Who sings that? That's one of them songs. That's one of them ones. That is a song that exists. Oh, let me fix it. Yep. Somebody sings that song. Welcome back, everybody. You know, they tried to make us hate Drake over the last year, but you can't fucking make me hate Drake. You can't make me hate Drake.
I took a full load.
I still love Drake, and you know, you can say whatever you want, but at the end of the day, Drake's music has actually Drake's music is the soundtrack to our lives, says Danielle W.
Danielle
Marco.
W donated 10 Canadian dollars. Marco.
So true, Danielle, starting it off. You'll notice for the first time, maybe I've done it before, I actually don't remember. I've changed the goal to, instead of being a donation goal, it is a YouTube members goal, because I'm so addicted. I mean, you know your boy loves the bag. You know I love the bag.
I gotta get the bag.
You know I love when they back up that Brinks truck. However, I love seeing the chat turn green as much, if not more. So, you know, I'm trying to motivate people to turn that chat green and gift memberships or buy their own memberships. Plus, I have, you get early access to all the new content, and I have 2 new videos coming. I have 2 new videos in the can, so I can drop one this week, and I can drop one next week, so that buys me 2 weeks of time. I'm the Ed Milet thing right now. He's like, I've changed and manipulated time. Where I've bought myself 2 weeks of time so that I can finish the new Infiltrating a Pyramid scheme.
I took a...
Marco. Fuck yeah, you stupid fucking asshole.
Let's go.
Yes, I've been working on it, and just the writing, dude. You'd think I was like one of those, like, you'd think I was like a, I don't know, like piano player. The way I get on, when I get on my laptop. Last night, I had some music playing in my headphones. While I was working on the script. I try to listen to Drake, but when there's lyrics in the music, especially when it's Drake, I just start singing along and I get distracted from what I'm trying to write.
Chaser
So it's
Patrick
like,
Pineda, Beyond WX, dropped a bag $19.
What the fuck I'm talking about? Wrong button.
Just trying to one up Danielle. Join the cult.
Patrick, aka Beyond, aka Beyond Storm Chasing. Thank you so much for the 20 bones super chat. Beyond is rich. Y'all don't know about Beyond. Y'all better put some respect on Beyond's name. He says, guys, I need you all to recruit one more goon to become senior junior vice director of remote finance. So true. Legend says only 60 people watching. 60 people watching and only 25 likes make it make sense. So true. Now it says 75 people watching. Jared misses Tex and Ming. Well, I tell you what, if we fill up this members goal, I will do a Tex and Ming, Scott Johnson, and Peter Mingle's stream. Brandon says, Marco, anti-MLM tornado stream tomorrow. Nice. Patrick also says he was on the news and caught 4 tornadoes. You love to see it. Yes, the least gay Lebanese man is back. And we're not talking about me either. We're talking about Ali Sobh. Yeah, that's something. So anyways, I was working on my computer and trying to listen to music, but I had to just put some like instrumental, like piano music on. Otherwise, like I said, if there's lyrics in the music, it'll fuck with my head top. So, yeah, we did that and it worked out good. And the shirt is from alwaysmarcomerch.com and the link is in the chat and you'd love to see it. Let's see. Grace says got dumped last night, but we're here and ready to have some happy feelings with the cult. His loss, his loss, his loss, his loss. All better now. No, I'm sorry to hear that, Grace. I always say when somebody goes through a breakup, I say, please apply whichever of the following is more appropriate. Sorry to hear that, or congratulations. And lots of times, girls, they look at me, they go, it's congratulations. And I go, ah. type shit. Traveling Lunatic says, I have no money to donate to the cult because just like that, poof, 80K of my money went away within 2 days in the stock market. The problem there, Traveling Lunatic, is the fact that you even had 80K to begin with that wasn't already given to the cult so that we could improve infrastructure on the land, you know, get a better water filtration system, food. That's crazy to me already. So that was the real. You think you feel bad losing 80K in the stock market? Imagine how I feel with the knife in my back, actually in my chest. No, in my back and my chest, finding out that you had 80K that you were holding out on us. Unacceptable, totally unacceptable. But I'm assuming that if 80K of value is wiped out, you had much more than 80K in there. So congrats on that. Streamlabs link in the chat. You still owe us the Drake verse. We didn't forget. Do I? What were the terms of that deal? I love to make deals and then forget. I love to make deals while I'm streaming. Art of the deal, you know? I love to make deals with the chat while I'm streaming, and then by the end of the stream, I forget, like, what I promised I would do. I got you, though. You think I don't got you? All right, fine. All right, fine. Since you want to play hardball. Does this pick up in the mic? Let's see. Oh my god, that's the worst fucking version of the instrumental I've ever heard. Here we go. That's it. I don't think you can hear that either. Let me skip to Drake's verse then. Alright. I'll start it off like this. Look. Yeah. I never fucked Nikki cause she got a man, but when that's over, then I'm first in line. And the other day in her Maybach, I thought, goddamn, this is the perfect time. We had just come from that video. You know, LA traffic had a city slow. She was sitting down on that big butt, but I was still staring at the titties though. Low key or maybe high key, I've been peeped that you like me, you know? Who the fuck you really wanna be with besides me, I mean? It doesn't take much for us to do the shit quietly, I mean? She said I'm obsessed with thick women, and I agree. That's right, I like my girls BBW. Type to want to suck you dry and then eat some lunch with you. Yeah, so thick that everybody else in the room is so uncomfortable. Ass on Houston, Texas, but the face look just like Claire Huxtable. Oh, you the man in the city when the mayor fuck with you, the NBA players fuck with you, the badass bitches doing makeup and hair fuck with you. Oh. That's because I believe in something and I stand for it. And Nikki, if you ever want to fuck, just give me the heads up so I can plan for it. Pink print. Woo, I'm sweating. Sweating. Turn the AC on. Thank you. Legend said Marco would be a good pianist, and then puts the eggplant emoji as in pianist. Thank you. Listen to music in Spanish, problem solved. By Spanish music, do you mean that Drake song where he says, I want to meet your padre, I want to meet your madre, pay my respects to your padre, mi amor. You know? I gotta get the bag, so true. Specs has lived in his hut for 5 years, so true. You said if someone dropped a compelling bag. Thank you, Andrew, for reminding me. Andrew, the resident goon accountant. We love to see it. Goon financier. 95 people watching, and if I refresh the stream, it says there are only 45 likes, which means approximately half of you are spies / assassins / traitors. Marco liking Drake is the first L I've seen him take. You know what? XTSSY. Your name should be PUSSY. You know, I've said this before in yesteryear, and I'll say it again now. I used to be the biggest fan of Kendrick Lamar and lyrical, miracle, spiritual, individual, criminal, swimming pool, rap music when I was in high school. Like nobody was a bigger Eminem fan. Nobody was a bigger Kendrick fan. And I'm talking like Kendrick Lamar even before Good Kid, Mad City, like Section 80, the Kendrick Lamar EP, Overly Dedicated mixtape, etc. Dude, and then you know what happened to me? I discovered something. I experienced something in my life called, I'll just be a gentleman about this, women. And after I experienced women, I realized, yeah, there's more to this. There's more to life. Once I started being in the club where the bad, beautiful gal were, once I started like dating girls and like, you know, you go pick up a girl for a date and you just immediately, your perspective immediately shifts as soon as you have a beautiful girl in the car with you, and you're like, you're no longer just by yourself rolling around listening to some Kendrick Lamar lyrical miracle anymore. Now you have to be considerate there's another person there, and no beautiful girl wants to hear that. Imagine a beautiful girl gets in the car and you're like, you hear that new Eminem? And I love Eminem. But like, there's a time and a place. And for me, the time and the place was when I was like, you know, an introverted dude. And I guess I should say I wasn't introverted because I was very much the same personality wise, but I was very like, I didn't go to parties and stuff like that, you know? So I still lived at home. I would just like listen to music basically. And now that wasn't the situation anymore, you know? And then when I was 18, 19, I started working for this concert promotion company and actually like driving famous rappers around and being around famous rappers and being in concerts and being in clubs. And it's just, I don't know. I just realized like, oh, okay, you know, I'm having fun at this point in my life now. I don't necessarily want to listen to some gloomy doom and gloom, people are poor and starving type music. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like there's so much doom and gloom in the world as it is and in life that when I listen to music now, I kind of don't want music to make me feel like that. When I was a kid and my life was pretty good, you know, as a teenager or whatever, by all like sort of first world metrics, like I had food, I had shelter, I had clothing, whatever. That's when that's when you're trying to create the balance of vibes, because your life is like, you don't really have any struggle. So you're listening to like struggle music, you know? And then you get older and your life actually does have stress, you know? Like my life probably right now at 29 years old has more stress than it's ever had. It's like it's only ever grown, the amount of stress in my life. So the amount that I don't want to listen to like gloomy doomy music is, you know, it's also, there's a corollary there, you know? So, and like, yeah, I've said this a million times, like, no disrespect or whatever, but like, I will never listen to something like MF Doom or, you know, Immortal Technique or some shit. There's no way. There's no way, you know? The Fruit Loops are shoot hoops with dudes too, with, you know, it's like, what are you talking about? MF Doom lyrics. I'm just going to click rapgenius.com, MF Doom lyrics, and I'm going to click the first song that pops up. Here, Doomsday, okay. I used to cop a lot, but never cop no drop. Hold mics like ponytails and babble Stop and stick around. Come through and dig the sound of the fly brown 6'06" psycho. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? And then I put that Drake Nokia on. Baby girl, let me see you do your dance. Let me see you twirl. Shake your dance in the club with your homegirls. Take a pic for the gram, show the whole world. Ah! They hate to see a young superhero have fun, you know? Thank you for the donation, Heartage. This is Heartage. Thanks for making me realize WFG was a scam. Got you, brother. You know? Imagine an MLM Marco hater tuning in for the first time. Yep. Yep. Hey, Grace, go listen to the album Her Loss by Drake and 21. I'm sure it'll help you get over the breakup. Vibe up. Turn the vibes up. Turn the vibes up. you know. Um, you know. And I mean, I still will listen to Kendrick Lamar and whatever. Like, if he puts out a new album, I'll check it out. But again, if a girl gets in my car, or I'm out with a beautiful lady, or if I'm out at a nice restaurant or like rooftop lounge or something like that, you know, and I'm on a date, you know, doing some of the romantic James Bond pimp shit that I like to do, and they're playing some Kendrick Lamar or some Eminem on the radio, I will personally ask them to put some other shit on, you know? And by the way, it's almost summertime. It's spring now, baby. We're gonna be listening to that Drake honestly never mind that everybody hated on. This everybody called it Zara music 3 years ago. But y'all just wait. Even the new Drake Party Next Door album came out recently. People are like, this is the worst album. It came out on Valentine's Day. People, Spider-Man Superman is the worst song I've ever heard. I can't get enough of that song. I can't get enough of that song. Girl, I wish I could save you, but I can't. Woo! Fuck out of here. Fuck out of here. And you know what? You can disagree with me. And as they say in MLM, you have the right to be wrong.
Marco!
Viz Mayhem says, Marco's right. When you're in the club, you see Drake is really the one. So true. Yeah. Legend Gaming says Marco loved. Specs, Marco loved MF Doom thanks to Conch. So funny. Marco still listens to Rich Brian. So funny. Jimmy says he's literally my number one, but you're right. Whatever your music you're listening to is important. If it makes you feel bad, don't listen to it. Yeah. And you know what? Kendrick Lamar, Drake is actually, you know, I'm talking about some other shit right now, but Anthony Fantano, who famously hates Drake, actually made a really good point. He famously hates Drake and famously loves Kendrick Lamar, and I think Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly is the only album that Anthony Fantano actually scored a 10 out of 10. He made a really good point about how Kendrick Lamar has this like selective outrage and selective moral superiority when it comes to like what causes you stand beside or what like people you do songs with, for example. And I think this came about after Kendrick Lamar was featured on a few different tracks on Playboi Carti's album. Playboi Carti, who is, you know, heavily rumored to be a deadbeat dad and an abuser of women. And it's like, weren't these the things that you said Drake was? You know, that he was a pedophile, that he hates women, that he uses women, he's a manipulator, that he is a deadbeat dad. Wasn't this everything you literally said? And then you're on multiple tracks on Playboi Carti's album, who like Iggy Azalea has talked at length about how he's like not involved in her and her son's life. And what has Kendrick's music actually done to change the, as Jaden Smith would say, the political and economic state of the world? Nothing. Did you know people? This is how I would summarize Kendrick Lamar's music in the last 10 years. Oh, did you know there are racist people in the world and that some people are poor and struggling? Did you know that? Okay, thanks, Kendrick. Now what? Oh, I don't know. Exactly. You're a fucking you're a singer. You write poems and recite them into a microphone. Nothing happened here. Nothing revolutionary happened here. Let's stop like, you know, acting like it's deeper than it is. Which is why, you know, I love Drake's music. Drake will unabashedly make a song that's just for fun. I feel like Kendrick doesn't even have the ability to do that. Kendrick doesn't even have the ability to go in the studio and be like, today I'm going to make a song that's just like for the vibe of when you're sitting on a patio in the summer with your girl and she's not, you know, and you're having a great time. I don't even think Kendrick has the ability to do that. I feel like Kendrick would sit there and be like, what's the deeper message to this, though? How do I put a plot twist at the end of the song where people get killed in a drive-by shooting and it says something about gang violence in the hood? Nobody wants to fucking hear that shit. You know? I'm always right. When Jumbotron shit popping by Drake comes on, gal move different. If you know, you know. Thank you. So true. Grace says, There's only one beer left. Rappers all scream in our ears like we're deaf. What is that? I love Drake, but Marco hating on MF Doom is a big L. So funny. Scared of the... Are you guys dropping MF Doom lyrics in my chat? Scared of the water, get out of the rain, order a rapper for lunch, spit out the chain. Who is that? Of course, bro, I've watched rap battles. GG's in the chat says, have you ever watched rap battles? King of the Dot and URL? Of course, bro, of course. And again, there's a time and a place. I'm never going to invite, unless I'm doing it like ironically to show how silly it is. I'm never going to like, imagine a girl come over to your crib. She's sitting on the bed. You already know what time it is. And you're like, let me go ahead and cut on some of these URL rap battles. I'm like, you ever seen Math Hoffa versus Iron Solomon? Don't nobody want to hear that shit. I want to meet your madre, pay my respects to your padre, mi amor. That, you know? Spec says, you mean a girl never said to you, hey, put on that new Slaughterhouse? Exactly. Exactly. Again, bro, a time and a place. The amount of girls who posting Spider-Man, Superman on their story is crazy. Yeah. Even Drake, bro, Drake is the soundtrack of our lives. Ever since literally, let's call it the last 10 years, okay? I'm 29 now, so starting from when I was 19, every time there's a new Drake album, there's some song or some lyric that correlates with exactly what I'm going through at this stage in my life right now, including the newest Drake album, where the very first song, CN Tower, if you don't know, this is the big tower in Toronto. It's like the big landmark of Toronto. While my mind has been plagued over these past months with feelings of longing and missing my Toronto gal, my Toronto situationship from 2022, 2023, he has a lyric in the first verse of this song where he says, I don't have your contact anymore. Something, 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 something. Think I even hit your email as a last resort. How the fuck are you in my brain, Drake? How do you know that that's exactly what happened to me? That I've been missing my Toronto gal. I don't have her contact anymore. And I emailed her as a last resort. Ah! Ah! Oh my God.
What you were about to witness.
I'm putting myself in goon court right now. I'm putting myself in here. This brother's starving. He needs some milk. Brother down bad, man. No, not even down bad. It's just like, you know, I get older and I realize, you know, the allure of certain things wears off, you know. When you're 19 and you've never had, you know, if you've never had chocolate cake and then finally you have access to chocolate cake and you eat all the chocolate cake that you can handle and now you're like, ugh, fuck, you know, I just want a simple, you know, I don't need to be doing this every day. You know? Math off in the bedroom is crazy. You know. Y'all got me started, man. Erica says selective outrage always. It's hard to be morally consistent in the music industry, but that's valid. Yeah, and then Kendrick will flip and do some shit like that and be like, yeah, I was all about peace on my last album, but now fuck it. I'm coming for war. And it's like, okay, so you can just, you're on some Nicki Minaj, it was my alter ego bullshit right now. You know? Wake up. Olivia says this is D1 glazing. You goddamn right. You goddamn right. You goddamn right. Drake, of course, bro, I'm not even ashamed about it.
$19.99.
Thank you so much.
Pawn
Thank
super
you so
chat.
much, Flip. Of course
That,
I'm
not like
D1
it.
glazing.
Song is Fuchsing Whack PPL just
Why can't I
haters.
skip? D1 glazing for, without argument, the greatest fucking artist of all time. Most hits, most streams, most everything. You know? Who deserves to get glazed harder, you know? The funny thing is that Drake can't even make a song. See, now you're just instigating for no reason. I doubt he has any sort of rhythm. It was always phony shit. Has never listened to Drake. You know. I dare Kendrick to try to make a song in Spanish. like Drake has. I dare Kendrick to try to make a drill song, a dance hall song, a like pop song. Kendrick can't do this shit. Kendrick cannot put people in their feelings like that. He just can't. I'm sorry. Roman, thank you, Roman. Has anyone seen the Minecraft movie? Nope. True story. Now I'm married with 2 kids, says Brandon. They could never make me hate Drake. True. If you can't relate to any Virginia Beach lyrics, I'm sorry you haven't lived enough. Yep. Lamborghini moving like I'm Christian Bale, and I'll never sell my morals for the ticket sales. Woo! That was Drake. Yeah, I booty emailed instead of booty called. You know, went to spam for real. I had an ex email me because he was blocked on everything. Fellas, don't do this. Ah! You know what though? It wasn't even like that. You know, it wasn't even like I was blocked on anything. I just you know, I've talked about this on a previous stream. We got personal a few streams ago at the end, and I talked about my love life a little bit, but you know what I'm saying. That song, Not Like Us, is whack, says Flip. I appreciate you donating $20 to say that, Flip. I do like that song. Don't look, I'm not a blind hater. I'm not one of these people who's like, pick a side. Dude, I still like Kendrick Lamar. Don't get me wrong. I still like Kendrick Lamar. But again, there's a time and a place. I don't think Not Like Us was whack. I think it's a great song. It's an incredibly good song. You know, it's catchy. It's fun. Even Drake said on his final song in that battle saga that it would have been some shit I could dance to if you weren't lying on it. Yeah, I mean, I still can enjoy the song. I'm not personally invested to that degree in their beef. Is it going to change anything? No. People who like Kendrick are still going to like Kendrick. People who like Drake are still going to like Drake. I'm still going to like both of them. But I'm just saying, like, objectively, let's call it what it is. Drake is a voice. Kendrick is an artist you choose to listen to. Drake is an artist you have no choice. He's ubiquitous. You can go to the mall. You can go to a Starbucks. You can go to a restaurant of any. You can go to a regular like McDonald's, and you can go to a fancy restaurant, and you will hear Drake being played. It is what it is. Kendrick is the most overrated artist of the 21st century. Agree. Everybody just likes to hate Drake because he's the GOAT, even if he's an awful person. That's true. Not the awful person part. I don't know him, but I'm saying he is the GOAT. Don't get Marco started on Freak in You remix. Yeah, for real. Okay. Speaking of Kendrick selectively being outraged and then going and doing songs on Playboi Carti's album, who is a known woman abuser, that flows perfectly into the topic of today's stream, now that we've got some housekeeping issues out of the way talking about Drake and Kendrick. Because speaking of domestic violence, we are back today talking about our friend Ali Sobh, our Lebanese king, who is the evil version. He's me from an alternate timeline in the future where I did everything how you shouldn't do it. That is, I think, the best way I can describe it. So, here we go. We're back in the Holy Land, by which, of course, I mean Ali Sobh's Instagram. And we're going to look at him responding to me. I'm actually so honored that Ali Sobh even knows who I am, because I'm just a miserable hater on the internet who he doesn't care about. So, of course, he had to make his longest video yet talking about how much he doesn't care. I wish he would have put more focus on me as the main character, but he doesn't. But let's check it out. So here we go. Let's unmute and let's go over here and see what Ali Sobh had to say.
Learn to be bully and clown proof. Look at this other clown. Look at this other clown. Look at this other clown. This is why I show all these clowns here. I don't give a shit about them, but it's an influence. I'm here to influence you. You don't want to be like these guys, or these are the people that are around you that can stop your success or try to stop your success. For example, look at this guy. He needs a calculator all the time, obsessed about calories. Come on, you want to look good? Yeah, but if you're going to just be obsessed about calories and have a calculator in your pocket, come on. Look at these two twins here. Bunch of clowns too. Nobody's. They're not motivating anybody in any way, just clowning. Bullies, just looking for people just to clap for them because they are insecure people. Look at this other clown here, sitting just making fun of successful men. And he proves and says it in his own video. Like here, he says, I'm renting. He's in his mid-30s. He's renting still. And he says, I don't have a girlfriend. Then what are you? What'd you wake up for? I'm letting you know this is what I've been through and what I continue going through, but doesn't faze me. I learned to be bully-proof. I learned that at a very young age. Let me share a story. I was in high school. I was popular to a certain degree, but not as popular as, other guys, football players or whatever. Anyways, I remember, they used to bully me, some with, muscle and some with their mouth. A bully doesn't need to be just with the fist or anything. It can be a skinny guy, just knows how to hurt you with his words. So they used to clown or say just how I dress or how I walk or how I look or I don't have enough muscles or whatever. 10 years later, my 10-year reunion, high school reunion. Guess who was the most popular guy? Guess who was the most richest guy? Guess who was the most handsome guy? Guess who all the girls wanted to be around? Guess how those bullies looked? Bald, broke, fat. Some of them, their parents dropped them off. Learn to be bully-proof because you're going to have those kind of bullies in your life. And if you let them get to you, they'll break you because that's their purpose.
Ah, yes, the ego. We need the ego. As Drake said, ladies and gentlemen, looking back on how they treated me, my high school reunion might be worth an appearance. Make everybody have to go through security clearance. Ooh. You know what's fucked up? Did my graduating class even have a 10-year high school reunion? It would have been this past summer, and I didn't see no Facebook event. I didn't get no invite. I didn't get no DM from anybody asking me if I'm going. What the fuck? Who was in charge of the school class council or whatever the fuck it was called to organize our high school reunion? I would have loved to go to my high school reunion and just see what's up. Oh, y'all broke up? Oh, that didn't work out? Oh, World Financial Group? Oh. Dude, there is one thing that these alpha male influencers always talk about, which is an objective truth, in my opinion. At least it's true more times than it isn't, which is that a lot of these alpha male influencers talk about how, like, if you're a man and you do the right thing in your life, you eat right and you exercise and you work hard, then you'll actually see a better, like, you'll live a better quality of life and be more handsome and everything in your 30s than in your 20s. That I can tell you as I get older is true. Every year I get a little bit more handsome. Every year I get smarter. Every year I get more successful. It's just the compounding effects of doing the right thing consistently over time. What the fuck?
Michael K just dropped a bag $100 on Super
Wow.
Chat. FK a high school
Goddamn,
reunion
Michael.
bunch MF losers. Tears of joy, tears of joy, tears of joy.
Michael K, I let the rifle spray. $100. Holy shit. The Brinks truck is backing up. The Brinks truck is...
Gave him the money. Boom.
The Brinks truck is backing up. Thank you so much, Michael K. Everybody make some noise for goddamn Michael K right there in the chat.
Knowledge.
He really...
It's all about residual income.
He really got it. Michael K got us up here. Michael K. Badman ting, Michael K. Badman ting. So yeah, there is the compounding effects to doing the right thing over time. And they say girls mature quicker than boys. Like I've even noticed this. Not only did I notice this when I was a grade 6, grade 7 age boy, but now, like, I see my nieces growing up, and, like, my niece looks like one of my nieces looks like she's years older than the boys in her grade. Like, they still look like they still look like kids, and a lot of the girls in, like, my niece and her friends, they all look older because they're maturing quicker than the boys are. So it stands to reason that if girls mature earlier than boys, they also I mean, you could call that aging. They're aging, they're growing, they're maturing. So if it's true that they start maturing earlier than boys, then it also stands to reason that by the time we're in our 30s, let's say, I'm 29, that by the time we're in our 30s, she's also generally, not always, but generally going to look older than a guy in his 30s. Basically, a good way of me explaining this is like, I feel like there are more times when you'll meet a man who says he's 40 and you're surprised by it, or in his 30s and you're surprised by it because you think he looks younger than he actually is. I think that happens more with men than with women. I think it happens more often. I don't think it happens as often where a woman says, I'm 40, and people go, oh, I thought you were 29, or something like that. Misogyny. But anyways, my point with this is that in this video that we just watched with
Bully
Ali
and
Sobh
clown.
talking about bullies and whatever, something that doesn't hold up is like when he's making fun of the one guy for being in his 30s and renting, as well as not having a girlfriend. I don't think those are markers of success. First of all, home ownership is not nearly as attainable as it used to be. Home ownership is also nearly not as desirable as it used to be. We don't know where that guy lives. Maybe he lives in a fucking place where you don't even want to own property, and whatever. There's so many factors that go into property. Maybe that guy doesn't own a house because he's renting, because renting saves him X amount of dollars each year on maintenance and property taxes and homeowners like condo board fees and home association fees. And instead he's renting for an affordable price for very low, like, he has low responsibility. If something breaks, he calls the landlord or the whatever and they come and fix it. And maybe the money he's saving by not owning a home is money that he's putting into, stocks or something that are getting him a return. We don't know. We don't know what his strategy is. And not having a girlfriend. Hey, I'll tell you from personal experience, the dating game ain't what it was in our grandparents' age. That's for sure. Let's just say the life I live right now, where I travel around the world and I go on dates with beautiful women, and I make sure that I'm sitting with my back towards the wall so that I can see the door because I don't want the Amway assassins to come in when I'm not looking. This was not plan A, 10, 15 years ago when I was thinking about my future. This was not plan A. I thought I'm going to get married. I'm going to have kids young. Life doesn't always go the way Ali Sobh thinks it should go. And, yeah. I don't think either of those are like, oh, he doesn't have a girlfriend. Oh, what a loser. Oh, he has freedom to do whatever the fuck he wants and he's not getting nagged. He's not being asked who's that girl that liked your Instagram post. Oh, what a terrible. How terrible. What a loser. I commented on this and I said, yay, I made it into an Ali Sobh reel. I'm so honored. And Ali Sobh himself liked it. Woohoo! Woohoo! Hashtag, look at these, clown show. Hashtag bully proof. Hashtag success mindset. Hashtag stay focused. Ignore the haters. Winning mentality. Built different. No distractions. Shout out Jesse. Jesse says, imagine thinking someone is not worth waking up if they don't have a girlfriend. This advice is actually legit. Oh my god. Somebody else commented, he has a crazy domestic violence record. Bro has unhealed childhood trauma. Oh my god. Sir, I am bald and fat. I could bully you easily. I think you forgot to fade your arm hair on this one, buddy. Oh my god. Wallahi, the only clown I'm looking at is you. A grown man doing stupid narcissistic videos of himself. Damn, this is top comment. Bro, I thought you were an eagle that flies high above the rest. Make up your mind what stance you want to take on this platform, just so we know. He filmed a bunch of videos on this day where he was wearing the Mickey Mouse Gucci shirt. Oh, he has another video about this guy.
All right, look at this person. He's out bashing successful men like me. Look how he looks. Look how he's dressed. Look at the home that he's living in. Look at the fan that's behind him, keeping him cool because he's so pissed, sad. And look at the ideology that he stands for. How you want to be a man like that.
Bro, Ali, you're literally wearing
Like,
a fucking blazer with no shirt underneath.
look at him.
You literally look like a bouncer in a gay bar.
It shows failure all over him. And he's making a purpose in his life to be okay as a scumbag. A true definition.
Ballerbusters commented, he doesn't have domestic violence cases in upcoming trial like you do. He also doesn't have unpaid child support. Oh, fuck, they're bodying him.
Of a failed man. It's hard to be a guy like me, to have a home like this, to look this nice, to smoke a $200 cigar every day. He's been attacking me. 3 videos posted about me, you know. But I'm responding to let the people know that this is how a failed person looks like. You don't want to look like that. Look at his body language. Look at.
I hate when people use that. I've noticed a big increase in this grammar fail in the last few years when he says, this is how he looks like. That is improper. You can say, this is how he looks, period. Or you can say, this is what he looks like. You only use the word like if you're describing what something is. Okay? Otherwise, you would use the different variation of the sentence where you would say how he looks. People also do this with like, I wonder how it tastes like. Dude, you sound like a fucking 5-year-old when you talk like that. How does it taste like? That doesn't make sense. You can ask, how does it taste? Or you can ask, what does it taste like? Like is for comparison. You're saying something is like something else. You're making a comparison. So there needs to be a subject there. What is the fill in the blank subject? What does it taste like? It tastes like chicken. That's an example of how to use that word. How does it taste? Now you're asking for a description. Does it to describe the flavors of it? How does it taste? You can't say, how does it taste like? That doesn't make fucking English sense. Anyways, I've just noticed that that's just a side note. That always bothers me when people say that. My first girlfriend, she used to say, mine as well. My first girlfriend used to say, instead of like when you're talking about like, should I go do this? And somebody goes, you might as well, might as well. You might as well. You may as well. She would say mine as well. Like she didn't know that it was might as well. So she'd be like, mine as well. I'm like, what do you mean? You own something as well? Something belongs to you as well? Mine as well?
It is muscle. He doesn't want to work out. You got more muscle underneath one armpit that you're making fun of than your whole body does.
So gay. Okay, let's I want to watch all the ones that he filmed on Mickey Mouse Day.
Do you think a man is less of a man if he can't change a tire on a car? But wait, do you think a woman is less of a woman if she can't cook a meal? Leave your comment below. Something to think about.
You know what's fucking hilarious, bro? Look at this. 800 likes, the shirt. If he wears a Mickey Mouse Gucci shirt, most definitely. So fucking funny. Dude, this guy just makes the same video again and again and again. Like, if you scroll back on his post from a year ago, he's talking about why men shouldn't split the bill with their girl at a restaurant. And then you go to a year later, he's still talking about, he has another video about splitting the bill and why it makes you a beta or whatever, you know.
Learn to be bully and clown proof. Look at
Oh,
this.
we watched that one? Here, no shirt.
You know what men love more than sex?
Please don't.
Is respect.
Ah! I don't know, bro. I don't know. I kind of like sex. Let's watch another Mickey Mouse one.
You know, life is filled with a lot of difficulties. And a lot of people get caught up
Music's way too loud.
in their anxieties. They let their difficulties drive their anxiety out of control. But always remember this. The stars always shine on the darkest nights. Alright?
Wow. So nonsense.
My body count is 1,572, and so I don't think body count should matter.
Just say you're jealous. Yeah, I'm so jealous.
Okay. Are you speechless?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's speechless. I'm speechless too. I feel sorry for the man. Oh my God. Just 1,572, she said.
Bro, Ali Sobh is so late to the party when it comes to making content like this. Making content like, oh, she has a high body count. Oh, women should cook. Oh, real man this. Oh, don't split the bill. Bro, you're like at least 3 years late to this conversation. You're at least 3 years late to this type of content. This is part of the reason why people are clowning you, but also like you're not bringing anything new to it. You're not doing anything like you're not saying anything like special or insightful. You know what's funny? When I have a donation goal on the stream, it's like pulling teeth. But when I put a member goal, now everybody wants to donate. So perhaps this is some reverse psychology. Perhaps this is a good like trick to use. I don't know. And thumbs up the ting as well. That's free to do, you know.
Thumbs up the
74 likes, 116 watching. Make it make sense. Oh yeah. He has a ceiling fan. That's so fat. That's so sad. Yeah, him making fun of the guy for having a fan in his room, you know. Maybe that guy lives in a tropical climate, Ali Sobh. You know, maybe he enjoys nice weather and that's why he has a fan. I have an AC. I have multiple AC units, like AC fixtures installed in my apartment because I live in a literal tropical climate. Does that make me a beta? Oh my God. Michael K makes Marco go gay. So true. Thank you, Jared. Let's read what you guys are saying about 10-year high school reunion. Matt says, I've got the 20-year coming up. I wish them all well, but they're probably all doing the same thing and alcoholics or something. Late 30s to 40s men are prime or should be becoming their best. I was partying like a fool in most of my 20s. There you go. Your 20s are for suffering. After that is when you start living, says Erica. Michael says, all relationships do is slow you down. Head up, king. Yeah, I talked about this on my on the stream where I was talking about my love life. I said, after my last relationship, bro, something kind of changed in me. And I don't mean that I was like heartbroken or that like I was burned or that, you know, I'm scared to open up. I still go and I have fun and I'm a very romantic person and, but I don't know, the feeling in my heart isn't there anymore, you know? I guess I've stopped. I'm a romantic person, but I've stopped romanticizing, you know? Romanticizing that bag. Thank you, Banana Bender. Why does he look like a middle-aged gay uncle? Yeah, so true. So true. Yeah, I guess I just I just don't see the return. I just don't see the value exchange anymore. Not that it's supposed to be transactional, but of course, let's be honest, every relationship, everything we do is transactional. You go to your job because you want to get paid. You go to coffee with your friend because even if you guys are both paying for your own coffee, you guys are both enjoying each other's time and company. That is a benefit to you. And so yeah, I just feel like the juice isn't worth the squeeze, at least at this stage in my life. I've joked about this before, how like, with all my lawsuits and shit like that, I imagine how actually having a girlfriend would make things worse, like I'll wake up one day and I'll be like, oh fuck, I got sued again. And rather than her comforting me, I'm gonna hear her be like, what are you gonna do? Bitch, I don't know. I guess I have my lawyer body another case. My lawyer's such a fucking monster. Fellas, is it gay to have your fan on? Apparently. I'm sad to hear your home has no observable cooling ventilation. My fan is on. Should I be questioning my sexuality? What does it taste like? What like does it taste? Yoda, so true. Supposedly, oh, supposedly is a bad one. Especially is a bad one. Pacifically is a bad one. You know. Rob's neighbor says I have my own tire machine and wheel balancer and has never made me feel above anyone. Nice. He's engagement baiting, lazy BS. A man is less of a man if he can sustain himself, period. Bro wants to marry his mother, not a woman. True. My wife says predicament. Oh, no. Divorce. I think I'd much rather have intercourse, says Specs. Yeah, I don't give a fuck if someone doesn't respect me. Obviously, the gal respect me enough to you see me. So, you know, who gives a fuck? The stars shine every night regardless of anything. Ain't nothing worse than a piece of crap alpha making money off regurgitating red pill played out lingo. He's blowing my mind with his philosophical knowledge. For some reason, I can't gift memberships? Uh-oh. By the way, it gets worse. Let me see if I can open up multiple documents at the same time in Chrome tabs. Yes, I can. I'm the best at the fucking computer, you know? Okay, let's see. I want to make sure these are in order. So I think this would be the top. Hearing type. Okay, so let's just go through some of these. Here we go. We're back on the interweb. We're back looking at some documents that I uncovered. I don't know if the person who sent me these wants me to say where I got them from, but here we are. Here we go. Bond action. We have a amount of $5,000 bond. This was on, this is coming up. Hearing date, April 14th, 2025. That is in less than 10 days. That's in like a week. Okay, the hearing was adjourned for pre-sentence interview. Okay, so in like 10 days, 2 weeks, this is coming up. Hearing date, this was March 19th. So they did one. Oh, and they adjourned it. Okay, I understand. So it was supposed to be for March 19th. They adjourned it to April 14th, so it's coming up. Damn. So March 14th, Ali Sobh has a hearing. Why? Oh, here's the same. Perhaps I did organize this in the wrong order. That looks like it goes first. The defendant, the participant is Ali Ahmed Sobh. So it's Ali Sobh. Here we go. Oh, okay. I totally had this in the wrong order. Here we go. This is how it goes. Ali Sobh, defendant number 1, bond type, personal, bond amount, $5,000. Why is Ali Sobh paying bond? That doesn't make sense. Ali Sobh, and by the way, I'm also very confident that this is him because this is from the Michigan court website, and we already know based on his videos that he's from, I think it's Dearborn, Michigan, where he has his car washes and stuff. So unless there are multiple Ali Sobhs in Dearborn, Michigan, or just in Michigan, period, I'd be surprised about that, but it is what it is. I actually will say, before I get into what his charges are, I actually thought I was very nice to Ali Sobh on the first stream I did about him. I thought that, yeah, it was cringe. Yeah, we had a little bit of fun at his expense. But I didn't, I said, I don't outrightly, it doesn't seem that he's, scamming anyone. He's not selling a course. He's not, telling you this is how he's going to make you rich. He's not, pushing some crypto coin. It didn't seem like he was actually doing anything negatively impactful aside from being like a cringe lord and having no self-awareness. And I actually said that I thought it was kind of nice that his businesses were all relatively halal things. He wasn't doing a casino and gambling and strip club. He had a car wash, a little outdoor amusement park thing, etc. Well, there's always more to the story, isn't there? Because if we go back here, we see that we have a hearing for sentencing, which I'm guessing means sentencing happens after you've already been convicted, right? The trial's already happened, you've already been found guilty, right? Sentencing. Maybe I don't understand. I'm not claiming to know everything about the American legal system, but, you know, okay. Well, I had this in the completely backwards order. Case details. There we go. And then you scroll down, you get this, Ali Sobh. Then you scroll down to the bond amount. It's right here. Then you scroll down. Okay. I see. Oh, and this is the breakdown of hearings. Okay. And then you break down the charges. Okay, so you can see what the charges are. So the charges are that on February 16th of 2023, 2 years ago, domestic violence A and B spouse, the original charge, domestic violence A and B spouse. I actually want to Google, what does that mean? Domestic violence A and B spouse. Let's see what that means. Meaning Michigan. Maybe I can just ask the chat. I'll ask the audience. Do any of you guys know what that means? 750812. Let's see. 750812 criminal code? Is that? In the context of Michigan law, this refers to domestic violence, domestic assault or assault and battery within the context of domestic violence, with penalties varying based on the number of prior convictions. Okay. Okay. Here we go. We can find it here in the Michigan law, Michigan legislature. Here we go. Okay. Except as otherwise noted, a person who assaults or assaults and batters an individual, if no other punishment is prescribed by law, is guilty of a misdemeanor punishable by imprisonment for not more than 93 days or a fine of not more than $500 or both. If the victim of a violation under this subsection is a health professional or medical volunteer. I see. Okay. Okay. Interesting. I wonder, is there something that says about 5,000? Because his thing was a charge of 5,000. So I wonder, what does that mean? An individual who commits an assault or an assault and battery in violation of subsection 2 or 3, and who has 2 or more previous convictions for assaulting or assaulting and battering, described in either subsection 2 or 3 under any of the following, is guilty of a felony punishable by imprisonment for not more than 5 years or a fine of not more than $5,000 or both. But I don't know if that's the same thing as what his bond was. I don't imagine that's the same as his bond. So we have Ali Sobh with the charge of domestic violence A and B spouse. Now, apparently, according to the comment made by Baller Busters on his one post, there are multiple charges like this of spousal, well, let me say it right so I don't get myself in trouble, of domestic violence involving A and B spouse, whatever that means. Maybe it means domestic violence A and B. Oh, you know what? I can figure this out. Here it says what A and B means, right? So okay, here, 8A. Is this it? Dating relationship means frequent intimate associations primarily characterized by the expectation of affectional involvement. This term does not include a casual relationship or an ordinary fraternization between two individuals in a business or social context. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty self-explanatory. Interesting. Very interesting. Dearborn, home of the F-150. Dearborn is the #1 highest Muslim population city in USA, says Viz Mayhem. So there could be multiple Ali Sobhs. Interesting. You know, one of my relatives explained to me recently that there are like 72 branches of Islam. How many sects in Islam? There's like Shia Muslims, Sunni Muslims, 73 sects. What the fuck? Hey, you know who doesn't have 73 different interpretations or disagreements about what to believe and what, you know, governs like morality and ethics? Atheists. You've never heard somebody be like, I'm a moderate atheist. I'm a Protestant atheist. I'm a Reform atheist. I'm an Orthodox atheist. No. there's consistency there. I feel like that's got to count for something. He's trying to leave a trace of him on the internet before he goes away for a while. Maybe he'll try to use it for parole later on, claiming he does this great motivational stuff for people. Yeah, that's an interesting idea. Hope he didn't beat up that guy he made a one-sided deal with in that gym clip. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's apparent from Ali Sobh's Instagram. If we look at it here, Ali Sobh, where is he? Don't run away from me now, Ali. Don't run now. Yeah, if we look at his Instagram, we can see that. I want to hear what he's saying there. We can see that he. Oh, Reels. We can see that he, like, in this clip, he's wearing this shirt, and this one it's this shirt, and this one it's this shirt, and he sort of staggers them out. So it seems he films a bunch of content on each day, like, you know, and then he'll release them by spreading them out, you know. What was? Oh yeah, that gym deal, the gym negotiation, you know. I want to see what he's saying on his story. This guy's too funny. In the Range Rover with the booster juice, you love it.
Michigan. And I want to have some fun. It's been a long week. So
Fellas, is having fun gay? Leave your comments.
found this badass water park. It's a 2.5-hour drive. Picked up some Arabic food. Got a few cigars. Gonna enjoy this road trip.
Badass water park.
Enjoyed myself over there at this water park. Just opened a couple of weeks ago. Moral of the story is, live life. Don't let nothing stop you. Weather, people, keep positive. Don't keep the stuff in your head. Just get out, forget. And the best meditation for the body is fun and happiness. All right? So enjoy yourself. I hope you're having a beautiful weekend. I'm sure I'm gonna be.
So annoying. No.
Competition at its finest. Over there we got famous chicken diner. And then directly across the street we got the world's famous chicken diner. It's too bad I can't get my take on it. None of them are halal.
Is beating your wife halal? Stupid question, because I know it probably is. I know it probably is. The way religions justify, like, you know, treating different races or genders or ages certain ways is like, I wouldn't be surprised if it is halal. Is beating your wife halal? Abusive behavior is forbidden because it contradicts the objectives of Islamic jurisprudence. Okay. Beating wife in Islam. Can men beat their wives in Islam if it's lightly? Here, Reddit. Reddit is where you can find the truth. Let's see. Can a wife shout at her husband in Islam? It is impermissible for her to curse, humiliate, or harm him. I'm with that. I'm with that. Hey, hey! Shh. Okay. You cannot beat your wife. That's good. Can men beat their wives if it is lightly? Okay, let's see. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, directed men not to hit their wives' faces, not to beat their wives in such a way as it would leave a mark on their bodies. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so no. So then, that's bad news for Ali Sobh, because why do we have domestic violence charges if it's not halal to beat up your wife? Muslim scholars who permit hitting emphasize that it must not be harsh but rather light. Muslim men are never to hit their spouse's face. Okay. Beating on one's wife in Islam.
In the verse of the Quran, etc. Akhi, the general trend is that Allah ordered men to be kind to their wives.
But
Allah says in the Quran, وَعَاشِرُوهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. You have to live with them in what is normal, what is kind, what is well known to people, to be accepted. You have a mother, you have a wife, you have a daughter, you have a sister. And
Okay.
you don't like people to deal with them harshly or in a violent way. So this is the general trend.
Okay.
However, what goes behind closed doors is something that only the man and his wife are capable of handling.
So it's all good. So it's all good. No, let's hear him out.
There should be no outside interference, because whenever there is interference from the families, things go south. Also, the Prophet ﷺ told the companions that a lot of women visited my wives and complained to them of their husbands beating them. By Allah, they are not from among the best of you. Meaning these men who beat their wives are not among the righteous, the pious, those who are God-fearing. And this is a strong warning from the Prophet ﷺ. Now, when we judge things, we don't, as Muslims, refer to the United Nations. We don't refer to the Geneva Convention. We don't refer to man-made laws made by the disbelievers and the kafirs. We refer to the Quran and the Sunnah.
So we don't defer to man-made laws, but we defer to man-made religion, which is man-made law. You're just putting an imaginary buffer of accountability in between you and your own made-up law by saying, oh, it was God's will.
So if you go to verse 34, chapter 4, I'm giving you the reference. وَاللَّاتِ تَخَافُونَ نُشُوزَهُنْ, those whom you fear their disobedience, their rebellion. What to do with them, the women? Then you should advise them.
Okay.
You should give them counseling. You should remind them of Allah, of how bad this is, how sinful it is, and that they are doing something that Allah does not love. فَعِظُوهُنَّ. If this doesn't work, وَهْجُرُوهُنَّ فِي الْمَضَاجِعِ, then you have to abandon them, but this is only in regards of intimacy. So you sleep with her on the same bed, but you don't have any intimacy. You don't hug her, you don't kiss her, you don't have any hanky-panky. And this goes on like the issue of advising her for a while, not for a day or two, or for a moment or two, maybe for a couple of weeks, 3 weeks of advising, didn't work, then abandon being intimate with her for 3-4 weeks. This doesn't work, then the last and third and final resort is to beat them. So Allah doesn't say bring a baseball bat to beat them up with it. Ibn Abbas, when who is one of the great interpreters of the Quran, was asked how to beat them, he said, with this. You see this twig? If I beat myself with it, I'm not going to be affected. He said, you beat them without breaking a bone, shedding blood, leaving a mark, and avoid the face. What kind of beating is this, my friend? Well, this kind of beating is not meant to be physical. It is meant to be sentimental, something that would hurt her, to open her eyes, to see how disobedient she is and how bad as a wife she is. After all the love, my husband is beating me with a twig.
Oh my God.
So this kind of beating is a form of reprimand, not slapping her on the face, not slapping her on the shoulder and leaving marks of your fingers on. This is not permissible. It should not leave a mark on the body. It should not shed blood. It's only to reprimand, and this is for the purpose of getting things back to normal rather than divorce. And Allah Azza wa Jal,
making it up. Making it all up.
I can say goodbye right now?
Yep.
Why does it look like he's in Glasgow? The horse is like, the cologne is killing me, get him away. Imagine like you're this guy's daughter or you're this guy's girlfriend, and he's like, you can't even go anywhere with him without him being like, take a video of me. I want to say something to the people over there. And then the eagle, you know? No. Get a video of me walking over and looking over this mud lake. What the fuck?
Look how beautiful and peaceful this is.
Didn't he say he was going to a water park? What the fuck is this? That's not that beautiful, to be honest. I would argue that that's not beautiful at all. No. That literally... Okay, I'm not even saying this to be like slanderous. That literally, in my opinion, looks like a shirt a gay twink would wear at a fucking gay bar. It's like the zipper, like we're showing midriff, we're showing belly button, and we're showing cleavage, but the middle part is zipped up. Where's my why are you gay sound effect? Did I not add that onto the thing? Okay, we need to add why are you gay? Bro. Get a video of me walking out of the hotel, and I'll come pick you up.
Hell yeah.
Oh, just poor guy.
The Chilean sea bass
Ooh.
with lime oil in the front, both sauteed spinach and raw spinach, black Piedmontese rice, tuile cracker, a little black pepper on the side. For the salmon, we have once again the saffron risotto underneath the 5 pieces of shrimp, sauteed vegetables, balsamic around the side, black pepper, and both of them will be dusted with gold once again.
Awesome, awesome. Great job. Thank you. Great presentation, too. Appreciate it.
Appreciate y'all.
Now it's time to eat. Bismillah.
Oh no. Oh no. Did you know Chilean sea bass was originally called the Patagonian toothfish? But nobody wanted to eat a thing called toothfish. I learned this from the book Doublespeak, and you can see me verifying it right here. Patagonian toothfish. And then you read here the blurb. It says, also known as Chilean sea bass. It's just marketing. Patagonian toothfish didn't sound as appetizing as Chilean sea bass, so they called it Chilean sea bass instead. Simple. Wow. Okay, let's read your comments about what we learned about his haramness or halalness. Relatively small number of sects compared to Christian denominations where there are 45,000 to 50,000, says Blacklight. I don't know if that's true, but that's insane. If it is. It ain't gay if it's underway, sure. Sometimes I get into friendly debates about why I'm agnostic and not atheist, but that's neither here nor there. The agnostic thing also confuses me as well, to be honest, because are you agnostic? Like, from my understanding, people who say they're agnostic, they don't know, so they're neither here nor there. You know, they leave the door open in their mind of saying, okay, maybe God is real or maybe he's not. My question is, are you agnostic about the tooth fairy? Are you agnostic about garden gnomes that, you know, that are alive? Are you agnostic about trolls and unicorns? No. In every other fantastical situation, if somebody claimed something fantastical with no evidence or fabricated evidence, you wouldn't say you're agnostic about it, you know. I'm agnostic about Xenu, the evil emperor in the Scientology religion that, you know, they believe he's some intergalactic space emperor who's trying to enslave all of us. I'm not agnostic about it. I don't believe it because there's been no proof. Big claims require big evidence. We don't owe it to people out of the kindness of our heart to be agnostic about their ridiculous things that they claim. A man walked on water. Like, what do you... I asked I asked a friend this yesterday. He's also an atheist, but we were talking, and I said, I want to ask somebody who's religious, like Christian specifically, do you believe the stories in this book in like a metaphorical sense? Like you're reading the story of it, sort of like Aesop's fables, where you read it like the tortoise and the hare, and you learn about the turtle that goes slower than the rabbit, but the rabbit stops to rest, so the turtle ends up winning. And the moral of the story is like about never giving up and being consistent, as opposed to like just having a burst of motivation. Is that how you're reading these stories of the Bible? As like metaphorical, like lessons to be learned? Or do you literally believe that a man died and then came back to life 3 days later and then died again, and then we're waiting for him to come back yet again a third time? Do you literally believe it? That's what I want to know. Do you literally believe he turned water to wine? Do you literally believe that he made Lazarus rise from the dead? Do you literally believe he walked on water? Do you literally believe that a woman gave birth to him just because God put the baby there? Do you literally believe these things? That's what I'm so curious about it. So I don't rock with the I'm agnostic thing, because I would argue that you're not agnostic about. Oh, the stream is having some lag. Uh-oh. The church of please. They're fucking me. Okay, here. Now it's actually getting back to a normal level. They fucked me bad. I lost 40 viewers because of the crash there, folks. Refresh it. Refresh. It's so crazy how it fluctuates like this. The Church of Scientology. This was an attack by the Church of Scientology. I'm joking for legal reasons. Yeah, okay, we're back. Dude, every time this happens, it literally happens every stream. Phineas and Ferb movie? I just opened the YouTube app on my phone and see there's a Phineas and Ferb movie happening. That's something. Dude, every stream this happens, and every stream I feel like, you know Doc Ock in Spider-Man 2, when he's doing the demonstration for the, not the arc reactor, the, what is it called? This thing. That's me. It's only a spike. It'll soon stabilize. When the when the YouTube fucking stream crashes. Anyways, I don't know what it is, man. I don't know why that happens. It says encoding overload, but I have my settings all optimized and oh fuck and whatever. So muted? How am I muted? I'm not muted. What are you talking about? Okay, we can hear me now. Yes. I'm seeing audio being played on my end. The Church of Scientology. This was an attack. Muted and frozen. No, it's fucking not. It's literally not. Refresh. Anyone else hear Marco speaking at 6,000 miles per hour? Make America goons again. Fuck. I literally lost half the viewers from that glitch and shit. Leggy stream still better than MF Doom. So funny. Maybe if we had an extra 80K to put towards audio repairs on the compound, we'd have a quality stream. So true. Yep. Yeah, so funny. I'm sure we're back now, right? I'm sure. Can you see me? Can you see and hear me? There's no way the moon landing was real. 1969, you're telling me motherfuckers were able to relay like audio from the moon, and in 2025 I can't even do it on a fucking computer, you know? Somebody also said what up from Thailand. Thank you. What up? Sorry about that. I mean, I don't know why it happened. Yeah, anyways, what I was saying was about how I'm not agnostic about other ridiculous claims. I'm not agnostic about the tooth fairy or unicorns or fairies, you know. I'm not agnostic about those things. I don't believe those things because no one has ever provided me any evidence or argument as to why I should believe in those things aside from mental illness. So, yeah, I don't really understand the agnosticism thing in response to Erica's comment. Erica says there are even Islamic scholars who are feminists. You can literally interpret these religious texts however you want. Yeah, I mean, if you can make a religious text say whatever you want through interpretation, then does it even say anything? And that's also a way to make them unfalsifiable and uncriticizable. Because if you say that, if somebody holds up a piece of scripture from one of these religious books, the Quran or the Torah or the Bible, whatever, or the Talmud or whatever it is, and you say, okay, this thing says something that appears bad, they can say, oh, it's an interpretation. It's like, okay, so who's really twisting the words here, you know? If main character syndrome had a social media account, Ali Sobh, yep. I think we need to move past about debating whether deity exists or not, blah, blah, blah. I agree. I like the Christopher Hitchens quote where he says, people used to believe in polytheistic religions, you know, more than one God, and then they started to believe in one, and we're getting nearer to the true figure every year. Sorry about the stream dying. You know, this always happens. Just wait a minute and we'll be good. Marco, it works after refresh. Thank you. Too bad I lost fucking half of the viewers. You look sharper than normal. Okay. Maybe I have to look into my settings. Maybe when I updated OBS recently, it did something. Y'all been psyoped about landing on the moon, and we're going to Mars. Yeah. No, we get it. We get it. You're an atheist. Yeah. So true. So it's such an atheist. You know, it's so funny. I made the goal for today a member goal, and as far as I saw, nobody. I wondered at first. I thought maybe the thing isn't working. Maybe it's not registering and picking up the gifted members. But no, I would have actually been able to see it in the chat as well. So. But I mean, hey, y'all are blessing the boy with the Streamlabs and the super chat especially. So I appreciate it regardless. I just think it's funny. It's just hilarious how like I do one I aim for one thing and another thing happens. But still good. I mean, both things good. I'm not complaining. They're both variations of a donation as well, you know. So, yeah. But yeah, one actually only super chat. Y'all are only blessing the super chat. Danielle did hit the Streamlabs. Everyone else was super chat and nobody was membership. It's hilarious. Agnostic about these dono goals, says Specs. I'll tell y'all that. I can still be convinced, but right now I don't believe the goons exist because of this lack of bag. So true. What up, James Bennett? Emma, as someone who grew up Jewish, atheist now, that is the entire religion. We've got a whole set of books arguing each word in the Torah. Yeah, you know, it's like an infinite money glitch, you know? Infinite Jewish money glitch. Like, make books about the religion and then make more books arguing about the meaning of that religion and make more books arguing those books' arguments. Oh my god. Just fulfilling every stereotype, you know? Every stereotype. Yeah. So crazy. 73 different sects of Islam. And and let me guess, every Muslim person you would talk to, I'm just guessing they all think they found the exact correct one, right? You know? Isn't there a cartoon about this? Isn't there like some Family Guy or something cartoon where everyone's up in heaven and they're there before God and God is like sorry, you guys can't come in. You chose the wrong religion. They're like, "What do you mean? I was a devout fucking Christian for 50 years." And God's like, "Sorry, you chose the wrong one." And then they're like, "Well, which one of us did get it right?" And God is like, "Actually, it was the Mormons. Strangely enough, it was the Mormons." It's like, yeah, you know, everybody got it right. Everybody individually got it right. What are the odds? Agnostic about these dono goals, hilarious. Appreciate you, Danielle. No, you're good. You're good. Danielle has paid her debt to Goon Society. Man, I'm really excited about I guess I'll talk about this. But anyway, hold on. Let me finish up the thing about Ali Sobh. Ali Sobh, dude, don't throw stones when you live in a glass house. And I know that, you know, based on the fact that you're somebody who uses phrases improperly, like, how does it taste like? How does it look like? You know, how does he look like? How do they look like? You probably don't know what that phrase means, or I'll explain it to you in case you don't know what it means. The phrase means that you shouldn't go on talking shit about other people and trying to expose others or condescend to others if you yourself have things that you are keeping in your closet, skeletons in your closet. And based on what we saw about your domestic violence charges, and Baller Busters also said something about child support, which I didn't see that. I wonder if I could just find it on my own. Ali Sobh child support. If I just Google that, will it? Ali Sobh civil record. Could this be him? Jamil Sobh filed a divorce separation against Ali Sobh in the jurisdiction of Wayne County, Michigan. (2020). Damn, dating back quite a while. How about this one? Grosse Pointe Academy versus Ali Sobh. For what? What's the charge? What's the complaint? Doesn't say. I don't know. I need more. I'm sure that now that Baller Busters has exposed the domestic violence thing, I'm sure more people are gonna go do some internet sleuthing and discover the child support and the domestic violence and the whatever, the divorce and this and that. So yeah, Ali, don't throw stones if you live in a glass house. And like, it seems that you're a successful businessman, dude. Like you own multiple car washes, you have businesses. Like you really don't need to be doing this at all. It doesn't. I'll tell you, I really don't think you're making a positive impact on society. The absence of a negative impact is not necessarily a positive impact. The only positive impact I could see is that people are deriving joy from laughing at you because of how ridiculous, you know. Mez in the chat is correcting me that it's South Park. South Park had the bit about people in heaven. Michael says, Marco, if you existed in the past when the moon landing happened and you were watching it with everyone on the TVs, would you be like, nah, this fake AF, or would you believe it because you never saw otherwise? I'd probably believe it because back then people trusted their government and there was no internet. You know, you only had the one side of the story that they gave you, you know. Marco, do you speak any other languages? Not fluently. You know, growing up in school, I took French. You know, je petit pas français, j'ai étudié dans l'école pour 8 ans. I did learn French in school. A little bit of Spanish. You know, yo quiero.
Atheist just dropped a bag 20 Canadian dollars. Tithing the cult.
That's pass the offering plate around. Thank you, atheist. Appreciate you. A little bit of Spanish, a little bit of Thai. I can speak a little bit of Thai. Yeah, actually it's kind of sad, but Arabic is probably my worst language. I should fucking learn Arabic, to be honest. All I know is that if some higher power exists, it's definitely not a loving and all-powerful God, says Erica. That's impossible. Like, WTF are you doing? Yeah, true. Waco, Texas was an offshoot of Seventh-day Adventism. I did watch a video about that. I grew up Seventh-day Adventist, very similar to Jehovah's Witness in beliefs. Got so fed up, legalistic BS. Plus, some people I knew personally got involved with MLMs. They are a whole can of worms, yep. I really like Knowing Better's series on the Christian cults. Interesting. Yeah. Dude, if you look at the methods of coercive control employed by MLM companies, you can, at least I can, point to the exact same ones being used in every religion. And it's quite interesting to me how, like, you know how when you guys watch my videos, we'll talk to people who, like, they were in multiple MLMs, or they're in an MLM, but they call every other MLM a scam, but their MLM isn't a scam. People can watch those videos, and they might be religious, and they think that that's so ridiculous that someone could be in one MLM, which I've demonstrated to be a scam, a mathematically impossible endless chain where you're destined to lose money, and they use lies and coercion and manipulation and language games to trick you and deceive you and take your money and control you and control what you do in your life and control, you know, in the interview with Stefan and Jenna from Amway, the multi-level misery, they talk about how, like, everything they did in Amway, they had to check upline. Buy a house, check upline. Buy a dog, check upline. Have kids, check upline. And people can watch my videos and be religious and not realize that they are doing the exact same thing, but about their religion. Oh, every other follower of another religion is misguided, but not me. I'm in the right one. I'm in the right one at the right time. You know, God wants me in this one. Isn't that what every person in every MLM says? Oh yeah, Amway, that's Scamway. This is a bro. You came from Amway. You wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for Amway. I'm talking not about Stefan and Jenna now. I'm talking about people in any MLM. Amway is the original MLM, and because of the laws established by Amway's lawyers in the 1979 Amway case, that is what set the legal precedent for every MLM that came afterwards to be able to operate as a legal entity. So every MLM is essentially an offshoot of Amway. Pyramids within pyramids. The big pyramid being Amway at the top and all the other MLMs as offshoots. And you can even do your research, and more often than not, you'll find out that the CEO or the founder of most MLMs got their start in Amway. So, yeah, it's really something. It's really something to behold. But yeah, my point is that religious people do it too. You know, it's very hard. It's very hard to see our own biases, and it's very hard to think critically about our own long-held beliefs. But it's very easy to see somebody else, like poke holes in somebody else's. You know, I remember last year, one of my friends, I was at his place, and I walked into the living room, and he was watching. Oh, assassins! I'm a ghost, actually. He was watching a debate between like some Christian guy and some Muslim guy, and they're arguing about the flaws in each other's stories. And I was like, I just thought, I was like, both of you are fucking misled. Both of you have been misled and lied to, you know. So yeah, but yeah, as Banana Bender said, we get it. You're atheist. Bit funny how all of a sudden people call themselves atheists proudly, yet for all of human history, different religious beliefs have existed, and almost appears like it is a natural part of human nature. Yeah, well, for most of history, if you look at the actual amount of time that humans have been alive, we also believed that, you know, rain was symbolic of God's crying. We also believed that you know, we should use leeches as a medicinal remedy. We also believed in, you know, human sacrifice. So I don't know. I guess I would call that the appeal to tradition fallacy. That just because people have been doing things for a long time, that means it must be right, or that means it must be natural. I do think it's natural. If there's anything about that that's natural, it's that there's a natural desire for humans to understand the world around them, understand where did we come from and where are we going. And I think religion is a result of that, you know. And I think, you know, we used to believe the earth was flat. Some people still do. As technology improves and we learn more, religious explanations and metaphysical, fantastical, science fiction explanations become less necessary, as we actually have the tools to explain certain things. You know, people still argue about evolution. People don't understand evolution. People say, I had a friend in high school who was like, if evolution was true, why is it called the theory of evolution if it's just a theory? And I tried to explain to him, I said, in science, the word theory doesn't necessarily mean the same thing as it would mean colloquially. We don't use it as like, I have a theory that the toys in Toy Story are actually representative of blah, blah, blah. That's not what I mean by theory. In science, the word theory means like an observable test that we can study repeatedly. It doesn't necessarily mean someone has theorized about it. Science always leaves the door open for something to be proved or disproved. So that's just a language game in itself. And he said, I remember he was like, if humans came from monkeys, how come there's still monkeys and there's still humans? Well, again, it's just a purposeful attempt to misunderstand, because we learned that in high school, you know? We learned that yes, there were monkeys, and then some of the monkeys went over here and some of the monkeys went over here, and over millions of years the adaptations that they made led to evolution. It's not like a monkey gave birth to a human and then one generation you had monkeys, then you had humans. We're talking about millions and millions of years, more than our brains can even fathom, of adaptations and changes. It's not like you would meet someone and be like, yeah, my great grandfather was a fish, you know. So yeah, I think to respond to Banana Bender, I think people throughout all of human history have held different religious beliefs, and I believe that is because people have tried to understand the world, and you know, it's more soothing, I guess, to think that there is somebody out there who's making a plan for all of us and who has the answers, and that everything's going to be fine, and that, you know, we have some all-powerful father figure in the sky watching over us who's going to make sure that everything happens for a reason. That's, I guess, more comforting than uncertainty, you know? Henry says, Marco, the spark of the rebellion against MLM. Are you also going to collab with other ex-MLM content creators? Well, I mean, I collaborate with people all the time in the multi-level misery series. Some of them create content, some of them don't. So I would already say that I've collabed, but I don't know. I'd like to collaborate with CoffeeZilla. Coffee, if you're watching this right now, I'd like to do. Oh, the assassins! Oh, I'm a ghost. I think I kicked the cable with my foot. Sneaker Shop Talk says, I've also said periodically people should vet/evaluate their personal beliefs for their own growth. Most people spend all their time in echo chambers and never have beliefs challenged. That's true. I would say that there are certain truths in every religion, says Yebji. As someone who's Christian, I can learn stuff from every religion and even atheists who are very intelligent. Sure. AC says, finally catching a live stream. Been watching your videos since the very beginning. Appreciate everything you do. Appreciate you.
Thumbs up the team.
Banana Bender, no technological tools explain why we are here. Not yet. How we got here. Not yet. Or the meaning of life, or indeed death. This idea that technology is dissolving religion. Okay, maybe I shouldn't have used the word technology. I should have said science. Again, I think the fallacy being relied upon... Oh, that looks fucked up. The fallacy being relied upon is that just because we can't explain something now means that it must be God. That is as logical a take as saying we can't prove where humans came from, so it must be the flying spaghetti monster. You know? I think this is called the appeal to ignorance fallacy, where you say that the absence of disproof is proof. Because you can't disprove A must be true. In this case, A would be, it's God. And because I can't disprove God, it must be God. Well, I also can't disprove fairies. I also can't disprove unicorns. Maybe there are a bunch of little fairies living in the grass, and they only pop up when I turn my back, so I'll never see them. But how do I know? If the prevailing theory by the fairy believers is that the fairies only pop up out of the grass when your back is turned, so you'll never see them, how can I ever disprove that? You know, I literally say things like that as a joke, like to my nieces, where my nieces will say like, can we go to Dairy Queen? And I'll say, I invented Dairy Queen. And they'll be like, no, you didn't. And I'll say, prove I didn't. And they'll say something like, well, didn't you go there when you were a kid? Implying that I couldn't have invented Dairy Queen because how was I a kid going as a customer to Dairy Queen if I invented it? And I would tell them, well, how do you know I didn't invent it when I was 2? And I'm like, it's just funny to watch their faces, like, look at me like I'm crazy, because it is crazy. I'm doing it just to troll them, and I'm saying, like, I'm asking them to prove something that there's no way they could ever disprove, rather than me doing what I should do as a responsible person and provide proof to the claim I'm making. But this is just sort of me trying to, like, get their brains working and understand why what I'm saying is nonsense. And again, I'm doing it as a joke. So yeah, I think it is, you know, The pickle also says, does there need to be a Y? Yeah. Does a dog have a Y? Does an ant have a Y? Does a bird have a Y? You know? You know. Banana Bender says, I never said that. I never said that is another great deflection of the point and a purposeful attempt to not engage with the point I'm making. I'm not saying you said that. You know? I'm not saying you said that. I'm just making my own point now. And the point I think I made pretty good, which was that just because we can't explain something doesn't mean that we should default to thinking that it's God. What up, Starla? Did you get your book yet? Pickle says that is called a god of the gaps, a god that just fills in gaps in knowledge. Right. Put a camera on your back and then you'll spot the fairies. So true, so true. Do you have aphantasia, Marco? Like the Disney movie? Like the singer from American Idol? Let's see. Aphantasia says you can't picture things in your mind. Means you can't picture things in your mind. And while most people don't have it, it isn't a disease or a disability. What do you mean? I can picture a red apple, of course. I've never even heard of aphantasia. Yubji says, well, we could disprove fairies because that's something we can observe, though. Well, what if I told you that I believe fairies are invisible and you can't detect them and they don't show up on heat, on thermal scanners either? Now what? See, I can just keep moving the goalpost for my argument so that you can never disprove it. And that way I can always say that I believe in fairies and you'll never prove me wrong. So, you know, I could keep tailoring the argument to fit my reality. We cannot compare ontological questions and mythological claims like fairies. Well, if a fairy is a mythological claim, is a guy walking on water and going, dying and coming back to life also not a mythological claim? Is it not a mythological claim that there's a wizard, an omniscient wizard in the sky deciding on who wins the Super Bowl? I mean, that's completely mythological. In the ancient days of the Middle East, all-powerful god spoke to some illiterate peasant and gave him a stone tablet. There was a man spoke to a burning bush in the middle of the desert. This literally sounds like a fable. It is completely fucking mythological and fantastical. Fairies are magic and wouldn't show up on camera. Duh, exactly. For real, my dog has no why. Happiest guy I know, so jealous. I think Richard Dawkins talked about this in one documentary where he says, it's a very human ego thing to feel like we deserve more of an explanation. We deserve some life after death. We deserve some unfathomable paradise beyond the struggling of our own lives, when there's so much joy and beauty to experience on earth. And it was already such a statistical miracle that the exact sperm and the exact egg at the exact moment in time, came together to create you. It was literally a statistical almost impossibility how unlikely that was to happen. And yet here we are, and we get here and we still feel like, what is this all about? I need more. It's like, you've already, people become depressed thinking about this. And it's like, if you only knew how lucky you were to even exist in the first place, to even be thinking these things, By pure chance, you were born in a time where you suffering from starvation or famine or natural disasters or war, and you have the magic of the internet. You're alive at a time where you have the magic of the internet. Yesterday, when I was at 7-Eleven with my friend, I paid with my like Apple Pay, where I tap my phone to the thing. And I said, imagine explaining to your grandma that you went to 7-Eleven where they had all of these conveniences available to you, which she could have never fathomed when she was growing up in the 1930s or whatever. And I used a magical small computer in my pocket, and I touched it to another small magical computer, and somehow it knows to take money from my bank account and put it in their bank account, and it's instant, and I take the goods from the store and I walk away. If you gave me immortality and you put me in the middle of a canyon with natural life and fruits and mountains and, vegetables growing and a river flowing through it, and it was just nature, and you gave me immortality, I was gonna live for billions of years with all of the knowledge I have now, and a genie said, okay, here's your challenge. You're immortal, and you are in this alternate Earth map where there's no other people, there's no technology, it's just Earth and nature. Create 5G. Create Wi-Fi. Create electricity. Build a skyscraper. I would never be able to do it. I would never be able to do it. So, there's so many miracles that have happened that you are the beneficiary of, that you've done nothing to earn. Simply just by existing, you get to enjoy these things. And we still feel like we deserve more of an explanation, more, For example, people lose a lot of sleep wondering what happens after we die. Well, I'll tell you this. I was already dead for billions of years before I was born, and I didn't suffer the slightest inconvenience. But what about when I die? What about when you die? You're dead. You won't. Yeah, but what about my consciousness? Where am I gonna be? Where was your consciousness before you were born? You're not gonna miss anything because you'll be dead. Which is why I feel like the meaning of life, if we know that our life is temporary, I feel like the meaning is to try to improve the conditions of other humans while we're still alive. I don't believe in an afterlife. I believe we're here. We have a chance. We have one chance. And that creates the urgency that makes life worth living and makes fighting for something good worth it. If I knew I was going to go to heaven no matter what, then why would I ever bother trying to do some good on earth while I'm alive? Why wouldn't I just keep my head low, get through it, and die? Matter of fact, why wouldn't I just fast track it and kill myself right now? If there's infinite, if heaven is on the other side of this suffering, why waste time? Wouldn't I want to get there immediately? So, I don't feel like we deserve more. Does an ant go to heaven? Is an ant up there in ant heaven being like, now I can dig tunnels for all of eternity? And you know what I mean? That's how I think about it. Greetings, your goonship, says Mars. Greetings, Mars. Welcome. That didn't work. Is this about Ali Sobh? We got into talking about it, about religion and religious belief because it started with Ali Sobh talking about he couldn't eat the chicken because it wasn't halal. And then I said, is beating your wife halal because he has domestic violence charges? And then we started going down the whole thing. I can't explain how my car works. So God, yeah. People who do have aphantasia close my eyes and I can't visually see a red apple. Interesting. Cultural Christian Richard Dawkins. Yes, because he's even explained that. That's such a people cling to that cultural Christian thing that he said as like a disproof of like, oh well, so he's a Christian. our culture, our society, in Western society, for a long time, the most powerful institution was the church. This explains why there are cathedrals and churches and religious paintings and things like that in our society, in our culture. So yes, it was not inaccurate for Christopher Hitchens to say, for Christopher Hitchens, no, for Richard Dawkins to say that he was a cultural Christian. If you were born and raised in Malaysia, whether you were a atheist or not, culturally, you would be a cultural Muslim, because a lot of what goes on, that's the most Muslim country in the world. I think Malaysia or Indonesia, one of those two, but Malaysia, very, very much a Muslim predominant country. So, yeah, I don't hold it against Richard Dawkins for saying he's a cultural Christian. I don't think that means that he's religious. Jared says, if all religious texts and scientific texts were destroyed, scientific texts would come back exactly the same. Bars. For real. Who just decided Pluto wasn't a planet anymore, says Specs, asking the real questions. Everybody was cool with Pluto. Mans was chilling, and one day he got kicked to the curb. Yeah, what's the criteria, I feel bad for Pluto. Yubji says, we are comparing a non-physical being, which we cannot prove nor disprove with science, being to a mythological being like fairies, which you are implying exists in time and space, correct? I now you're using a lot of words, I think, once again, to purposely misunderstand. I'm making a comparison between God and fairies. I believe both God and fairies are mythological creatures that are unfalsifiable and their existence relies on simply you believing in them, and there's no evidence for either. One of them, you say, is a mythological being, and one of them, you say, is something other. I don't agree. Prove to me fairies exist or don't exist. Prove to me God exists or don't exist. Again, the burden of proof is on the shoulders of the person making the claim. If you believe that there is an omniscient superpower in the sky watching every moment of my life and everybody and all other 8 billion people and the billions of animals and whatever on the planet simultaneously, and judging me when I masturbate and making little notes saying like, oh, you're going to go to hell because you did X, Y, and Z, or you didn't do X, Y, and Z. Prove it. Simple. Mars, you always show up either too early or too late for the Drake glazing, and I did it at the beginning of the stream. Pickle says, being born is a 1 in 100 million chance, let alone the current time you're talking about. Odds are astronomical. Yes, I agree. People get really upset when I tell them I think when we die, it's the same as the TV turning off. Yeah, that's just fear, It's fear. Pickle says, I still remember the first time my grandma used FaceTime. I never thought I'd see the day. Her first words, talking to my sister 3,000 miles away. Yep. So true. Science is standing on the shoulders of giants, each in their own field. Okay. The craziest shit is we're actually living during a time where Drake is blessing us. That's actually a fucking fact. We're living. You're alive at the same time, at the same period of time when Martin Scorsese is making movies, when Johnny Depp and Robert De Niro are acting in movies, when Drake is like at the peak of his success. I always think about how I was 12 years old during the summer of 2008 when Iron Man 1 and The Dark Knight came out. I got to watch both of those in theaters as a 12-year-old boy, and I got to be a 23-year-old watching Avengers Endgame in theaters, still young enough to enjoy it. I wasn't married. I didn't have kids. Still young, still living a relatively responsibility-free life, and being able to feel the culmination of these characters who I had grown an attachment to because I was at the perfect age, You could even argue that I was a bit too old. Maybe I would have enjoyed Iron Man 1 and the whole Marvel and Batman thing more if I had been 9 years old instead of 12 years old. But I still stand by the fact that I was so lucky to be 12 years old when The Dark Knight and Iron Man 1 went to theaters. Wow, how fucking amazing is that, What a lucky life, I was a kid when Halo 3 came out, Oh! I was a teenager when Black Ops 1 came out. Oh my God. You know, people always told me, older people would always be like, oh, you missed the glory days of video games. We had Nintendo, we had Mike Tyson, whatever, Knockout, Punch Out. Dude, those games are not shit compared to the games that I had as a kid. And I actually think when it comes to video games, I was at the best period in time because the games were like advanced enough to look amazing and they weren't just such simple 8-bit, you know, run, duck, jump. They were actually like, you know, kind of complicated in that way, but it wasn't at the point where there was like microtransactions fucking everything and developers not having enough time to actually complete the game and blah, blah, blah. You know, you bought the game and you owned the game, you know, 2004, 2005, when Star Wars Battlefront 2 on PlayStation 2 came out. I remember it was my birthday. I think it was my 10th or 9th birthday. And, you know, growing up in my house, I was only allowed to play video games on the weekend. So like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And, you know, not during the school week. And I remember it on my birthday that day, it was a Thursday. And I got the game and I was so excited to play it. And my parents did let me play it for a bit, even though it was a Thursday, because it was my birthday. And I was so excited. I remember I went to bed thinking about all of the adventure and like, you know, fun that awaited me in the game and all the different things you could do in the game. And that's still one of my favorite fucking games. Star Wars Battlefront 2, oh my God. The amount of maps, the amount of game modes, the amount of like little Easter eggs and fun situations that could be created, and like, it's still never been topped, you know? You know, I was in grade 8, I think, 8 or 9 when, no, grade 7 or 8 when Batman Arkham Asylum came out. And I had that on Xbox 360. And I remember my dad came downstairs when I was playing it and he was like, he had took me to Best Buy to get it. I had pre-ordered it. And he asked me, how is the game? And I was like, yeah, it's amazing. And it was amazing. And then a couple years later in high school, Batman Arkham City came out. And that was amazing. And then when I was 19, I remember my first girlfriend, my first like real serious girlfriend, when I like actually had a job and like, you know, we would have sleepovers and stuff. I remember Batman Arkham Knight came out 2015. And I remember I told her, I was like, on this day, I'm playing this game. And I remember she texted me like, have fun playing your game today, you know? And I was like, I was still at this point in my life where I had like a super hot girlfriend, but I was still like a kid to the point, like I was still enough of a kid that I was like, I'm sorry, you're a beautiful bad gal, but I need to play this game today, you know? All of these things are so miraculous and impossible that I could have, like, you know, I couldn't have planned it better. So, you know, it seems so selfish and egotistical of me to be like, but what about, it's like, have I not experienced enough? You know, have I not been gifted enough? So yeah, and Drake, man. Drake, bro. Suicide is a sin for Catholics. Okay, so again, this is what I mean. It's about control. They want you to believe in God in the afterlife, but they don't want you to commit suicide because it's a sin and it will upset God in the afterlife. Doesn't that seem like a control mechanism to keep you right where they want you? You know? We all get reincarnated. I win. Prove me wrong. Yeah. Mars, the only Drake problem we got around here is that we ain't bumping it right now. So fucking true. I do live in Antarctica now. He loves snow angels, yes. We got to do a Scott and Peter stream. If somebody gifts even one membership, I'll do a Scott and Peter stream. G says, again, you aren't understanding my point. Am I not understanding your point, or are you purposely making it convoluted? By definition, God is outside of time and space. Prove it. By your argument, fairies, you are implying is in time and space. Okay, I'll change my argument then. I argue that fairies are in time and space. Oh, and whoa. I argue that fairies are in time and space. There you go. Actually, no, I argue that fairies are outside of time and space, just like God is. There. Does that make it easier for you to engage with my argument? Oh, 6:30 a.m. Damn. Have a good night. Mars says, I've argued with my mom and my stepdad that being an atheist, as the dictionary defines it is nearly impossible because I can't convince them that something they believe so greatly isn't real. Like any proof I'd give them would just say it's God's doing, yeah. Or God works in mysterious ways. I can't think of anything that would feel like more of a slap to the face if I was someone who is the victim of a violent crime, or if I was a woman who is a victim of a violent crime walking down the street and something awful happened to me. I can't imagine how absolutely crushed I would feel if I went to talk to the church pastor and he said, God has a plan. Peace out, Danielle. Some of y'all never threw monkey bombs on Kino round 30, and it shows. Woo! Watch those wrist rockets. Ooh, I'm getting chills. The Star Wars Battlefront 2 campaign mission Nightfall, where you play as evil Anakin, but not quite Darth Vader, and it's the only one map and only mission where you get to play as him with the hood on, and you get to kill all the Jedi NPCs, and like the clones are evil, but they're not stormtroopers yet. Holy fuck. Holy fuck. Did you ever play Half-Life or Dreamcast? No, I didn't. Sleepovers, yeah. I tried to get my son to play a Super Nintendo game and he couldn't figure it out, but he can build the Tower of Babylon and 360 no scopes and kid on Fortnite. Yeah. Oh my god. I got my Write This Down notebook. Super high quality, love it. Perfect addition to my Goon Juice mug. Yes, let's go. Banana Bender says you should change your channel to an atheist one. I would argue that my channel is an atheist one. My channel is atheistic towards the fantastical claims and impossible claims made by people in MLMs and scammers that tell you online they're going to change your life and teach you how to make bajillions of dollars. My argument for those people is the same as my argument against religious people. If you are making a big claim, it requires big proof. You're making millions of dollars? Show me you're making millions of dollars and show me how you're making those millions of dollars. There we go, Uriel. Yes. Finally. People joining the cult. Thank you, bro. Welcome. The cult welcomes you with open arms. All we require is your unquestioning faith. What's the saying? I'd rather have I'd rather have questions. How does it go? It's like I'd rather have something than answers that I can't question. Yes, okay, I think that was it. I'd rather have questions. I'd rather have questions about certain answers than answers that I can't question. Something like that. I'm sure I butchered it. Star Wars Episode 3, the game on PS2 was crazy as well. Yeah, fuck. Yeah, fuck, man. You got me going. 2000s peaked video games. Yes, agree. Peace out, Chris M. Nothing was the same. You know, I used to actually hate Drake. I started loving Drake in 2009 when I was like 13. I loved Drake because the songs that I had heard from him were things like Forever with Eminem and Kanye and Lil Wayne. I get money, I get paper, I get girls of different flavors. I buy Gucci, I buy Prada, I pop Lotto out the bar. That song, Over. I know way too many people here right now that I didn't know last year. All those songs were bangers. Oh, baby, you my everything. You all I ever wanted. We could do it real big, bigger than you ever done it. Shawty, you the best. You the fucking best. You the best I ever had. Those were the songs I had heard. I was like, bro, this guy's 4 for 4. I'm fucking with this guy. I'm going to buy the album when it comes out. I remember I bought the CD for Thank Me Later. When I was on vacation with my family in California when I was like 14 years old. And I remember I listened to the CD and I was like, dude, this CD was not what I wanted it to be. I felt like the vibe was too different from those songs I'd heard on the radio. Like there's a lot of slow R&B songs on there. And I was like, damn, I feel deceived. So that led to a period of me like really hating Drake during the like Take Care era, which was more of that, more of the it was more of the like R&B slow shit. And at that time in my life, as I talked about earlier, I was still on the lyrical, miracle, spiritual, individual, criminal, syllable, Eminem and Kendrick Lamar and shit like that. And then again, as time went on, and as I said, a couple more years later, I'm going to concerts, I'm at the club, I'm dating girls, I'm like, you know, experiencing young man adventures. I realized, okay, yeah. And that insert the argument from the beginning of this. Talk. That's like when someone dies and a religious person says they are in a better place. It's an awful thing to say to a grieving person. Yeah. Is God's plan by Drake valid in the cult? Yeah. I'll allow it. Would you agree the problem is that while truth itself is absolute, there are virtually zero instances of absolute proof outside of pure logic and mathematics? Sure, I agree with that. And that actually works against the claim of God, because just because you can't provide absolute proof for most things, once again, doesn't mean we should rely on fantastical thinking. For example, I can't provide absolute proof that the cloud I'm looking at right now outside of my window is really there. I see it, but do I have absolute proof? No, perhaps I have some sort of retinal issue in my eye that's causing me to hallucinate that there's a cloud there, or my brain, I'm crazy and I'm hallucinating that there's a cloud there. But there's a lot more evidence for that cloud based on me looking at it than there is for God. At least those other things that we can't find absolute truth for, there would be some proof, there would be some logic, there would be some math. The fact that you have to go this hard, and I know you're a great guy, Banana Bender. My passion is towards the argument, not against you as a person. But the fact that you would have to go this hard to strip the argument down to arguing about absolute truth, and like making this equivocation between the fact that we can't absolutely prove things, so thus we should, like, I don't know, have more leeway for fantastical claims, sort of just proves my point of how nonsense it is. Like, there's a great quote that I love that says, "The truth is usually very simple. What gets complicated is evading the truth." And it's only when I talk to people who are in MLMs or people who are followers of religion where things get so complicated. You watch one of my debates with these WFG guys. Oh, well, let's put that into perspective. I ask him, do you realize that it doesn't benefit an ice cream truck driver if there's 10 other ice cream truck drivers in the neighborhood, because now he has more competition? And instead of answering the very simple question, he says, it's ice cream, it will melt. Now we're talking about ice cream melting. Likewise, I say, if God is real, prove it. And I hear, would you agree the problem is that there is absolute truth and there are virtually zero instances of absolute proof outside of pure logic? And bro, if you want to help people, you tell them the truth. When you want to help yourself, you tell them what they want to hear. I would rather have questions that can't be answered. There we go. Thank you, Viz Mayhem. I would rather have questions that can't be answered than answers that can't be questioned. I should have been able to remember that on my own, but I was unable. Thank you. And I say, hell yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah. Fucking right. All right, let me do something for y'all. Mars, stay with me for a second. All my exes live in Texas like I'm George Strait. Or they go to Georgia State where tuition is handled by some random hitter that live in Atlanta that she only see when she feels obligated. Admitted it to me the first time we dated, but she was no angel and we never waited. I took her for sushi. She wanted to fuck, so I took it to go. Told him don't even play it. Then we never spoke so much after, just only hello or happy belated. That's when I texted her and told her I made it, and that's when she texted me and told her she pregnant. And that's when I texted her and told her I love her. Then right after texted her and told her I'm faded. You know what's so funny about that song? That's the only Drake song ever. That's the only Drake song where he ever uses that like double time chopping flow. He's never done it ever again. You know? So funny. What a legend, Drake. I love Drake, man. Yeah, Uriel, you're an executive team leader. Yeah, I was gonna say, hero mode on Tatooine. Yes, bro. When you put if you went to Mos Eisley map on Star Wars Battlefront 2 and changed it to assault, normally that assault was for space battles, but if you did it on that map, it put you into a mode where it was only heroes and villains characters that you got to play as, and it was just like a brawl. Darth Vader fighting Anakin. How does it even make sense? You know, a guy fighting himself and his son. Like, it's crazy shit. Crazy shit. Please, I'm fragile. LOL. The fact that there is Christian apologetics tells you that something is rotten in Denmark with this religion thing. Sunken place. You listening, Mars? I'm gonna go off the edge. You know, I should have put you somewhere where no one can find you. Mars, go listen to the song Desires by Drake featuring Future and tell me that it doesn't awaken something within you. Tell me that it doesn't make a single tear roll down your cheek like you're in a movie. It's like a train is headed to me. Marco's the conductor and Specs tied me to the tracks. It's like, it's the trolley problem, you know? I can pull it and it's going to make Mars listen to a Drake song, or I can leave it alone and it's going to be me singing the Drake song to all of you and Mars just not watching anymore. I'm making it go to Mars. I want her to hear this. Every church has their sermons and their catchy songs that you know, and they're chanting. You know, every cult has chanting to get people, you know, to really shut their brain off and be part of the cult. We have Drake, baby. Drake's given us Drake's given us I forgot to change it from black and white. Drake's given us albums on albums of this shit. Felt like Exodia when I broke chains. Hold up, who said that? Who said that? That's a bar right there. Bars. What I think of Kendrick's performance at the Super Bowl? I don't know. It was quiet. Super quiet. All aboard! I think Mars is secretly scared that she's actually gonna love Drake, and the reason that it's scary is because she's gonna go back and discover all of these, like, Drake has such a big discography now that she's gonna have to do so much work to go back and discover it, and that's gonna mean like years of learning the material and also like being late, you know? Like Mars missed the entire wave of Look Alive with Block Boy JB. 901 Shelby Drive, Look Alive. Woo! Came up on this side, now they on the other side. Mars, listen to Freak in You remix, Drake. I got a triple king bed and I don't mind sharing. I got a big G-Wagon, I don't mind sharing. We could get wild like Olivia, we could get stoned like Sharon. I know he's rhyming Sharon 3 times. Rotate care, but they push me to the point where I'm just not caring. I'm way more ready than petty nowadays. Listen to Drake, Sweeter Man, uncensored. Listen to Drake, Pistols, leaked track. Listen to the song Views, not the album, the song. Listen to Is There More? Sweeter the berry, the blacker the juice. The boys back in the booth, ready to tap in the truth. Too many lyrics about houses and loot. Too many Walt Disney characters, mouses and goofs. I mean, I know they say it. That's one song. In this family, that's one song we don't skip when it come up on the shuffle. I don't care where the fuck we are. In the grocery store, have it in my headphones. Play this shit. Only holding up I do is my end of the bargain. Only begging that I do is me begging your pardon. Only crying I do is crying from laughing about it. Woo! Got me fucked up. I am a sacrificial lamb to the goon called Kendrick over Drake a million times. Talk to me about why Drake likes teenagers. Bring me the proof! I literally should be a lawyer. Big claims require big proof. Anyone can go on a song and say this guy's a pedophile. Bro. Drake literally has a proven track record of being into not only not teenagers, but actually older women. Serena Williams, Jennifer Lopez. The amount of women he's been connected to who are Tyra Banks, the women who are like older than himself. You know? People run with anything. People run with anything, man. Well, Legend Legend deleted Mars's comment that said Kendrick over Drake. So funny. I don't like the sound of his voice or his flow or his sore loser behavior. I just flipped the switch. Flip, flip. I don't know nobody else that's doing this. Ah! All Specs has to do. Specs literally, it's like, you know, in Winter Soldier, when they say like the secret sleeper cell code and it makes like the Winter Soldier, like he's brainwashed and he starts killing people. That's like all you have to do with me to control my brain is like say the first like half of a line of a Drake lyric and I'm off to the races. Bro showing he ain't Gen Z with these music choices. I'm right there on the cusp. Snoopy Doo.
Snoopy Doo donated 10 Canadian dollars. The religion conversation deserves a bag BCOZ. I love that stuff. As an atheist?
If God is real, somebody donate $1,000 right now. Tell you what, for $1,000, I will change my mind and I will become religious right now and make all of the arguments that I don't agree with in favor of religion just to poison the well and muddy the waters of genuine, authentic, good faith argument. And I'll start arguing with nonsense and convoluted pseudoscience and big words to try to make myself sound smart, to justify a literal fairy tale and try to make a fairy tale real for $1,000. I think he was in jail in Sweden for weed. Wagwan Goons just got done with the JOB. Fuck yeah, Alex. You make a lot of money for the cult? I was DJing in my sophomore year of college at Rutgers when Look Alive came out. You just had to be there. It was a special time. I exchanged my goon blood for a couple Drake slander moments. That's true, she does. Plant like a sunflower. Only rest that I do is wear the rest of my commas. Woo! Please just indulge me the first verse. Only holding up I do is my end of the bargain. Only begging that I do is me begging your pardon. Only trying that I do is me trying the hardest. Only problems I do are math problems with profit. Only lying I do is lying out in the tropics. Only crying I do is crying from laughing about it. Only lacking I can do is my lack of responses. Only rest that I do is wear the rest of my commas. Woo! Oh my God. This part, this one part that he says is my life. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. He says, this is about dating. He says, love certain ones, but never get attached to them. Give them nice things, but what's that to them? Especially when another girl I flew in is flicking up in my bathroom, taking pictures, and they recognize the bathroom. All his other bitches saw that girl's Instagram story with the pictures from his bathroom, and now they're blowing up his phone because they're like, who's this bitch? All hell starts to break loose in my texts. I only tell lies to who I gotta protect. I would rather have you remember me how we met. I would rather lose my leg than lose their respect. if that isn't the story of my fucking life. I only tell lies to who I gotta protect. That really is a deep one, because that explains why I've pushed different gal away in my life, you know, because I don't want to end up in a situation where I'm dating a girl and we end up, this is like I talked about on the one stream where I was talking about my dating philosophy, where it's like, I don't want to end up at a point with a girl where we end up bickering and you lose respect for me and you end up hating me type shit. This thing keeps fucking up. Hold on. I know you can hear me and not see me. I gotta fix this, bro. Fuck is going on, man? Wow. Okay. Yeah, I don't want that to happen. So that's why I feel like I push girls away before I let them get too close, because that way it's like I never want my memories with a girl, my good memories, to be bookended by bad memories. Like my last girlfriend, every good memory I think back to, I think about how it was subsequently ruined by this argument or that argument. And it sort of sullies the memories of the good moments. And I never want that to happen. So I feel like anytime the connection gets too close and there is the risk of like, bickering about something, I feel like I just dead it, because I mean, this is the truth. I did it because I don't want us to ever get to a point where we like hate each other. I would rather have you remember me how we met. Even if it means you go out there and you think about me forever and I think about you forever, I would rather it be true that when you think back, you can never say I did you wrong. You can never say we fought, because we didn't. As soon as there was friction, I just let go. As soon as there is even an inkling of a problem, I don't engage with it. I just say, okay, that's it. I don't do it. Before I used to negotiate and I used to plead and I used to compromise. I don't anymore. I just say, okay, my life is good. If I'm by myself, I don't argue with myself. So there's no reason for us to argue if we're together. My life is fine. Your life is fine. If we're together, the math would suggest that it should be fine. There's no actual reason for us to argue ever. If it starts to happen, I just don't do it. It's already ruined. It's already ruined. So, yeah, maybe that's wrong. Maybe that's something I have to like figure out, or maybe not. Maybe I don't know. I've been enjoying a pretty peaceful last few years this way. I'm having a nice like relationship, for lack of a better word, with a girl, and then there's some trouble afoot, or I smell trouble on the horizon, or I smell jealousy, or I smell, I don't know, what's the word, like ownership, like possessiveness. I just let it go, and then guess what? I go and I'm in a new relationship. And there's a new gal, and once again we're in the honeymoon phase all over again. So I'm having serial monogamous relationships, for however many months at a time with one girl. And once it's done, and once it stops being, oh, this is a great addition to my day, to my life, this is gonna be something that's like brings feelings of fun and joy. As soon as it's not doing exclusively that, I go on to the next thing where it is. And maybe that, I'm sure that seems like I'm not like the right thing, but I'll tell you, I've done it the other way too. And I quite, I live a peaceful life. Let's just say that. I live a peaceful life. So that Drake lyric always sticks with me. I would rather have you remember me how we met. I would rather lose my leg than lose their respect. So true. So fucking true. Marco and I are cusp millennials, almost to the same day. Yeah, I hope you had a good birthday, Mars. Send this singing to gay Uncle Ali Sobh. Yep. I'm in control of my destiny, never in doubt. If I can't make it with you, I'll make it without. Woo! Goon Ghost. I lost my best friend. It was so good and relatable. I had an experience with blank. Love, bro. Appreciate you, Sid. What up, Lunar Bunny? Yes, shout out Julie Anderson. I just got the urge to hear this diatribe in the Don's voice. Uh-oh, stinky. Oh, yeah. I let him go. Great relationship. We have a great relationship, but we don't do fighting. We don't fight, right? No drama. There was a little arguing. That's okay, right? Yeah. I got to bring Scott and Peter back for a stream, for sure. It's time. Yeah, but Bam knows when it comes to this relationship shit, I've done it. And I did it with my Chinese girl where I let it go. You know, she wanted to be in a relationship, but I knew it's like, bro, I talked about this on the stream before, so I'm not going to go super deep into it, but it's like, if I'm dating a girl and she wants to become boyfriend and girlfriend, you think it's going to stop there? It's only going to be more from there. You're only going to want to spend more time together. You're only going to expect more from me. You're only going to want to get closer. Now we have to live together. Otherwise, there's not a natural progression, right? There always has to be progression. That's what people think. There always has to be progression. We can't just be like dating. Now we have to be boyfriend and girlfriend. Okay. Now if we're boyfriend and girlfriend, you think she's going to be content with that? No. Now we're going to have to get married. You think she's going to be content with that? No. Now we have to live together. Now we have to have kids. Now we have to have dinner with your parents every week. But eventually, I'm just in a prison of my wife's creation. And that's my whole identity. And I'm chilling on that. So, you know, with my Chinese girl, I had to let her go, and it hurt me bad. To this day, it hurts me bad, but I had to let her go. She was amazing. I had to let her go. We let her go. That's okay. We had to let her go, right? And, you know, right after that, my Toronto girl, and I let my Toronto girl go too. Same thing, you know, she was in love with the boy. And I had to let her go, but fuck. Both of those ones kill me, but Bam knows my Toronto gal. Oh, it kills me. But it's like I can't get back. I can't really get back with her, can I? You know, it's never gonna be the same. You know, if you know, you dated somebody before me, that's one thing. Okay, that was in the past. Now it's me and you to the end. That's different. Clean slate. But if we've gone our separate ways and, you know, you've since loved someone else since you loved me, and now you're going to try to love me again. Can't turn back the hands of time, brother. Hopefully we find, you know. Tell me what you want, I'll tell you why it cannot be. There's layers to this shit that you cannot see. Can't have nobody being jealous over me, because people only get jealous over things they own and nobody owning me. I've got no debt and got no baby mama. Got a decade of doing what I want when I wanna. I'm a one-on-one. You'll wanna be in my corner. No, I don't have a moment to go listen to drama. That actually isn't even a Drake bar. That's a me bar. For real. Don't ruin this. Uh-oh, Stinky was about smelling trouble afoot. Possessiveness, no bueno, so true. Speak for the gals you're pursuing. With regards to which statement? Speak for the gals you're pursuing. About loving each other again? Jealousy in the air tonight, I can tell. Jealousy in the air tonight, I can tell. I will never understand that, but oh well. Yeah, Drake, the language. Thank you, Specs. See, there's a Drake lyric for everything. Onwards and upwards. Kaizen. Marco stopped chasing gal, but gal no stop a chase him. I lost a whole lot of money chasing women, but I never lost no women chasing money. You know what's funny? Is after I started talking on my stream about how I can never let a gal lock me down, more gals started reaching out to me trying to lock me down. It's almost like they view it as a challenge, you know? As I get older, the more I continuously learn that it seems girls just simply want the opposite of what they say, or they just think the opposite of what they actually say out loud. They actually think the opposite of it. It's really fucking weird. But I've seen it, like, I don't want to like expose any of my friends, but I have a friend who's such a wizard at this that, like, me and him, how can I set up the story? Me and him, we were together and we randomly bumped into these two bad gal and we started chatting them. And so anyways, we start walking with them and we hung out with them at this little like weed cafe thing. I don't smoke, but my friend was smoking. Dog, this one girl was all over my friend. Turns out her friend, the one I was talking to, had a boyfriend. So I was basically just babysitting her, letting my friend put in work on this other girl. This other girl was beautiful and she was feeling my friend in a big way. Afterwards, this girl hit up my friend on Instagram trying to make plans with him. Dog, he restricted her on Instagram so that all of her messages were showing up in the requests, and she wouldn't see that he read any of them, and he never responded. And it was actually scary in a way to see a beautiful girl, and this girl was like a model. Like, she had like in excess of 10,000 followers, was a model, like one of these girls who you can just tell thinks she's the shit and has a ton of dudes in her comments and probably in her DMs as well trying to holler at her. And seeing a beautiful girl like this talking to herself in my friend's DM really flipped my worldview upside down, because you only ever see it the other way. You only ever see guys talking to themselves in girls' DM, you know, where, you know that meme where it's like your sleep paralysis demon, but it's just a guy that you went on a date with one time 3 years ago and he replies to all your stories. And it's like how a guy will be like, I'm in your city. Hey, haha, giving me the silent treatment, huh? Fire emoji, fire emoji. You know, you expect it from guys trying to get a girl's attention. Seeing this girl literally replying to my friend's stories and keep hitting him up even when he never even responded to her. He didn't even double tap one of her messages. And she kept hitting him up. And I was like, bro, like she obviously wants you. Like, why are you not hitting her back? Like, you could probably smash her tonight. And he literally told me, he was like, nah, like she doesn't want it bad enough. I was like, what are you talking about? She's in your DM talking to herself. But I don't know, he saw some shit I didn't see. I would have never even, you know, that's something I guess I had to learn. So I'm learning it slowly but surely as time goes on. It's like the more you, that's true. The more you pursue some shit, the less likely, at least when it comes to dating. It's really crazy. It's really crazy. Mars says, I won some cash at my JOB 2 days in a row this week, making more per head than anyone else. Very happy with myself. Funny how JOBs work. Hey, Mars, this is a dangerous place to be talking about how much money you made. Especially with that Streamlabs link in the chat looking oh so juicy. You know? Yeah, Mars, what do you do? What do you work at a bingo hall? How do you make extra money? Maybe there was like a bonus for who, I don't know, sold the most product or something? I don't know. If you could describe Chinese gal in one word, which would it be? Ooh. 谢谢. Ni hao. I don't know. In one word, Chinese gal. Fuck, man, that's a hard one. Sweet seems like too much of a simplification. She was more than sweet, you know? She was like... She was... Who... She was... I don't know. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Jared. Jared, what happened? Why did we delete Mars's, What happened here? That was an accident. Sorry, says Jared. Bro, what did you do? You banned her? You timed her out? Just deleting all of Mars' chat messages? All good. Well, sorry, Mars. If you're watching this on the replay and you guys see me addressing someone named Mars and it appears that I'm talking to myself, that's because Jared, -1 goon point, Legend Gaming, accidentally deleted all of her messages somehow. It's quite the coincidence that the only person who was talking bad about Drake here somehow gets all her messages deleted. Interesting. You think a girl having a BF is gonna stop me? Says Banana Bender. LOL. I'm too honorable. Starless says not all women have those expectation of relationships and life progression. That's true. I've only had one gal in my life when I was 21 who was a real soldier who held it down and never asked for anything from me. She was just a soldier. Speak up for your gals about them. Oh, speak for your gal. Yeah. Okay. I'm the shit, and I do be restricting a lot of people, says Mars. Nice. I see DMs from dudes to girls like, hey, just like, how are you thinking that would work, you know? The liking many posts going back months or years is so unsettling. Yeah, that's so crazy. I don't like girls' pictures at all, period, ever. I don't give a fuck. Bro, my Chinese girl, you know what was one of the coldest things about that relationship? I never even followed her. I never even followed her on Instagram, bro. Am I insane? I never even followed her. And she didn't follow me. We never even followed each other. It's crazy shit. I told her, I was like, you know, I see you in real life. Like, I don't even really care like that. I got some credit cards to pay off because I was unemployed for a long time. Fair enough. I'll allow it this once. Ni hao. Just start by saying basic greetings in Mandarin. Yeah. Marco talking to himself. Yeah. Shit, this stream has gone on too long talking about random shit, but y'all like when we get a little personal, don't ya? I have to piss. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna piss, and I'm gonna see if there's any other bags or questions that need to be addressed, and if not, then I'm ending this. I'll be right back. I think I know the solution to my love life. I think if we just gave $20 billion more to Israel, everything would work out. And I would find true love. Maybe I need to go to Tel Aviv, find a wife. They wouldn't even let me fucking into Tel Aviv. They'd take one look at me and be like, Arab, get the fuck out of here. From a guy that knew Marco in high school, bro always pulling baddies, I ain't gonna lie. I wonder if this is one of those things where somebody's just like trying to wingman me and doesn't even know who I am. You know? I don't know who that is. Mars says, Marco, I feel like that's not true, my guy. Sorry, I'm behind. What do you feel like is not true? The only guys who can get away with saying hey in the DMs are supermodels. Hey can work if you already know the girl is interested in you. Like if she already liked some posts, or if you felt the vibes in person, or whatever, or if she says message me or some shit, you can get away with hey. But like on a cold, you don't know her type shit? Nah. Should I smoke another blunt, says Michael? Maybe. Oh, I think I missed a donation from someone as well because I was looking at the YouTube chat and I didn't hear it on actual OBS. So let me see. Tipping, tip history. Snoopy Doo. Okay, yeah, I did see it. And Atheist. Who is Atheist? Thank you, Atheist. Okay. For some reason, the analytics on the Streamlabs website aren't working, and that's a big problem. Such a big problem. Nobody knows problems like me. I'm not able to see like my revenue. Strange. Sid, what is your actual name? Should I smoke another blunt? I've had 49-plus-year-old men get pissed off for politely declining his request for a date. He called me a gold digger and a whore. So funny. What did Mars feel like is not true? Let's see.
Drake Hater 666 donated 14 Canadian dollars and 23 cents. I spill my blood for the goons. Forgive me of my slander sins, for I cannot control myself.
Is this Mars? Drake Hater 666. It is Mars. Thank you, Mars. Wow. Appreciate that, Mars. Pay off the credit cards now. You've paid your penance. Your Drake slander has been forgiven because you've tithed for it. So there's been a balance in the force. But you do spill your blood for the goons, and I appreciate that. I feel like that's not true, my guy. Sorry, Mars. What would... Oh, that I like posts? I meant I'm pretty sure you like posts. Why? Did I like one of your posts, Mars? Let's go to Mars Instagram. Mars. Here we go. I like stories. I know I don't like posts. Scrolling. Did I like this post about Gaza? Confirmed. I always tell the truth. I do not like posts. I don't know, dude. I just, well, I do know. There's really no, like, genuinely, when I say this, there's genuinely no point to liking girls' posts. It's not going to be the thing that makes or breaks whether you, like, hook up with her or date her. Like, truly, it's not a factor. Like, I genuinely mean that. I need to go to Texas as well this year. If anybody is in Texas, let me know. I'm going to be out there because I have some missions to do. My boy Coffeezilla lives out there. Some bad gal out there who are calling for me. You know. Lillian days. Trust, I'm going to stay low key. All right. Mars bars, so true. Not the readout. Yeah, I mean, shit, man. Perhaps I gotta do another stream on my second channel talking about personal shit. My brother used to see you in passing all the time. Been following you since you started. Cheering from the sidelines. Love my dog. Keep it up. Appreciate that, man. Isn't that crazy? 10 years from the time I even graduated high school. Almost 11 years since I graduated high school, which means it's 14 years since I actually started high school. And I've got somebody in my chat who says, my brother used to see you in passing. So not only do I not know this person, I didn't even know their brother. They saw me in passing. Fuck, that's crazy, man. I'm so fucking cool. There will come a day, and I'm not saying that it's this way yet, but there will come a day where for the majority of people who I went to high school with, the coolest thing about them will be that they went to high school with me. That's not true right now. Right now, I don't think it's a big deal. But, Bam, you're going to be in Texas in June? I'm thinking like July, August, September type time frame. But there will come a point when if you went to high school with me, that's the coolest thing about you now and forever. It's crazy shit. Mars says no, but we're friends, so it's not like that. Yeah, well, even still, even if I was trying to holler at a gal, I'm not liking her pics. Mars, you ever had someone like your pics to get your attention? Did it work? Mars says, I'm not kidding when I say it happens at least once every week, and no, it creeps me out. That's how people get blocked. I'm trying to hit... Basically, I have an Illuminati airline connection, which allows me to fly for a very affordable... I can't say too much because I promised my Illuminati contact that I won't say anything about this. But I have an Illuminati contact that allows me to travel very attainably. And so I'm thinking about LA, Texas, New York, and also maybe Florida. There's one girl, man. There's this one girl who... she could ruin it all for me. She lives out there in Florida. This girl that I have no, distance between us, just like picket fences. Drake. There's this one girl that lives out in Florida, bro. Latina gal, Latina mami. Oh my god. The way my feet grip the ground just when I think about this girl. Just like so not mysterious at all, you know. Man, this girl could ruin it all for me. She's out there in Florida, but we'll see what happens, man. I mean, like my picks like a bunch at once. Yes. It shows they care. Bam gonna be driving. You know what the best way for a girl to slide in my DM is? If anyone cares about the male perspective on this, girls have to put in very little effort, but girls are the worst for this. Girls will literally on Bumble, girls have to message first on Bumble. Girls will hit you on Bumble and be like, "Hi, hey." Now they're not even doing that. Now you know what I'm seeing girls do on Bumble? Instead of even sending hey, they're just sending you one of their like prompts where it's like they send you a prompt which is like a question where it's like, first date idea? Bitch, first date idea? I don't know anything about you. How am I supposed to know? Y'all are delusional. I remember Fidel telling me about how one girl, he sent me a screenshot of some girl's Tinder profile and it said like, first date idea, helicopter tour of the city. I think about this at least once a week. Helicopter tour of the city for a first date. He's in New York. That's like a $500 at least adventure. Why does my camera look like that now? It's like it's a weird sharpening going on. So yeah, Minneapolis, July 5th. Y'all want me to come to Minneapolis? Is that what you're saying? You know me for sure, bro. If you saw me, bro's gassed up. I guess you can't show love these days. I'm just joking, bro. But you said your brother used to pass by me, which made me think that we don't know each other. You know me for sure, bro, if you saw me. Okay, my mistake. I was under the impression that it was your brother. Bro's gassed up. I guess you can't show love these days. I'm just playing. We already live in the best timeline. Battlefront 2, plumbing, internet, gal, Marco, so true. She's been waiting for you. I referred your vid to this guy deep in MLM and saved him. Fuck yeah, appreciate that, bro. We call her the Destroyer. Yeah, dude. She's Colombiana, mami. Oh god. The new video is good, man. I was when I get to type in, bro. Nobody types like me. I know a lot of great people, a lot of great typers. They type so well. If I disconnect the camera here, and then I like change the source, camera source, Camlink 4K, FaceTime HD camera, Camlink 4K. Is it gonna be better? Why does it look like that? All good. Maybe it's a sign from the gods to end the stream. Girls be valuing themselves too high, says Legend. The Fidel arc goes crazy. Still can't believe he was on the other side before. He was the perfect villain. Yeah, and in my new video, he's gonna be a hero. You'll see. You can ride share them for like $100. Forget what I was gonna say. Yeah, I'm really excited for the new infiltrating a pyramid scheme. I'm excited for what's coming down the pipeline with some of my lawsuit business. Yeah, I think. Oh. There we go. That looks better. I think good things are afoot for that. Schumerfree, I'm the system, buddy. So true. Is there a world where someone would actually deserve a first date helicopter ride? No fucking chance. No fucking chance. Because even if it was a girl who you wanted to smash, like, so badly, like, if this was your number one all-time need to smash gal, you've set the bar too high now. Like, you're only going down from there. If you had a guarantee, okay, let me think about this for a second. If I had a guarantee that my number one most want to smash, if there was a portal that opened in front of me and 2005 Jessica Alba walked through it, fresh off the set of Fantastic Four, and somebody said, all you have to do is take her on a helicopter ride and the deal is done, then yes, I would. But without such a guarantee, no chance in hell. You know? That's another thing I was going to say about High School Reunion. Ali Sobh was talking about High School Reunion. He went to a 20-year high school reunion. Is that even a thing? I feel like it's much less necessary to have high school reunions now because, first of all, everyone has social anxiety, and also, like, you're still connected with people through social media and shit, so it kind of defeats the purpose, I feel like. Plus, you meet more people than you did back in the day. I feel like before the internet, perhaps it was more important to do something like that to, like, keep connections with people that you might have been friends with before, but now I just feel like, you know, people travel, people have adventures, it doesn't fucking matter. Bro, another thing too about the high school reunion shit. Does anyone feel like, I'm gonna say how I feel and then you tell me if you agree. Do you guys feel like the standards for beauty in men and women have gone up so fucking high in the last 10 years? Like, I think back to the hottest girls from when I was in high school, like who I thought was the hottest girl. And I look back and I look at, like, how did they do their hair? What was their makeup like? What did they wear? Bro, it's not like it is today. The adult stylings are being adopted by people much younger more and more each year. Like, for example, there are some girls, like, in my niece's school, like when I pick up my niece from school sometimes, and she's in grade 8, she's in junior high, and like some of the girls, like, I thought they were teachers, not because just because of the way they, like, you know, for example, if you have a haircut that's like a bob haircut, it's gonna make you look older, probably, if you have a bob, because we generally associate that type of hairstyle with, like, an older person, or, like, you know, there's like the Karen haircut. It would be weird to see a child with the Karen haircut. You would think it makes them look older. There are things that are being employed, like clothing choices and makeup choices and hair choices, that make people look older, and boys too. Boys, they don't pull it off as well, because if you're a young boy, you look like a young boy, you know. But yeah, it's really strange. Like when I was in high school, I feel like kids looked like they were in high school, and now I feel like kids in high school or junior high even look like adults, just based on the way they dress themselves and shit. So, I don't mean this to sound like in any sort of weird way. I'm just saying like it's a choice that they're making, and I don't know. I feel like parents should be like stopping it and shit. I don't know. Like, at what age should you let your daughter wear makeup and stuff? And to what extent? Like, a little bit of eyeliner or whatever it is, like, fine. But, like, doing a whole thing? I don't know, bro. A little lip gloss or whatever, okay. But, like, are we doing a whole thing? Birthday makeup, Um, pterodactyl ride around the city. Yeah, that'd be sick. It sounds like one of those Magic Treehouse books. Best typist since Margaret Thatcher. So true. There was this girl, Vicky, in my high school. She was an exchange student from Spain. There was like a couple students, her, and a couple of students from Spain. Dude, this girl was like, I don't know if there was like some different like grading to age system in Spain, but this girl came off like she was older. She was much more, let's say, developed than other girls in my high school at the time, and probably because she was a Latina gal, but also she smoked cigarettes. Like her and all these Spanish kids like smoked cigarettes, and that like nobody was doing that, and so that was kind of like an enticing thing. Bro, this girl Vicky was so fucking sexy. Vicky, you're so lucky. Maybe I'm lucky. Maybe I'm lucky that these Latinas have evaded me thus far in my life. Because Vicky, it probably would have been a problem for me. I probably would have had a fucking. Imagine I had like a 10-year-old son right now. Can you imagine? Chris says, I really like expensive steakhouses and not paying. Oh, and being treated like a queen. Crazy. Jessica Alba looks terrible in Fantastic Four. Fuck you! Jessica Alba in Sin City is the best. Actually, yes, true. I will agree with that. She looks better in Sin City. In Fantastic Four, her body is insane, but I do agree that it was a mistake to give her like a blonde, like dye her hair blonde and give her blue contacts. It doesn't look right. Even then, when 9-year-old me or 10-year-old me or whatever watched that, obviously electricity flowed through my body at a high intensity. But yeah, her natural eye color and hair color suits her better, of course. You want a pterodactyl ride but won't listen to Drake. Mars, wow. You know what's funny? My Chinese girl said that about dates. It's like, you have to be careful with dates. Is that if you do something that's too crazy on a date, as Mars said, it comes off disingenuous and love bomby, and peacocking. But if you don't put in enough effort, it's seen as like lazy and low effort. Like I remember my Chinese girl, she was like, I asked her, we made plans early on to like go on a date, and I thought it was like at this time it was summertime, and I thought it would be a nice date to like go get coffee and like go for a walk in this nice like park sort of area, like walking path park area, in this very nice neighborhood that I was living in at the time. And she told me straight up, she was like, that's kind of low effort. I was like, okay, no problem. Like, what would you like to do? She wanted to go to some restaurant. I don't even remember exactly where we went, but I was like, yeah, that's fine. It was fine with me. I truly didn't mind. I feel like there's no way to call it. There's no way to know. What was the fit in high school, Mars? Studded belts and Vans? Multiple belts, bows, teased, rainbow hair, bracelets, yeah. Stretched ears, yeah. If Marco had a 10-year-old, he'd be a red jacket CEO. Sid says, as a guy from Edmonton, just 1 year younger than you, this is so true. Yeah, and on top, another point about the girls who were like the hot girls when I was in high school. If I met them today in 2025 and they all told me, yeah, I want to take a spin on the Cyclone or whatever, I would literally be like, maybe there is 2 or 3 of them that I still would. But even then, I would be doing so begrudgingly. I'd be like, I wanted you back then when we were both fucking 16, 17. Now you're 29. You've been through how much? You see it in the last decade. You probably don't look as good as you did when we graduated. Whatever. Most of them don't, is the point I'm trying to make. Most of them don't look nearly as good as they did, which is to be expected with the passage of time. Forget the trends and the styling or whatever. But that's another thing, man. When you're in high school and you're 19 and you're 20 and whatever, and every girl who like you're in love with who's 20, guess what? Every guy who's 30 and 35 and 40 is also in love with her, and they have way more they bring in way more to the table than you are. So I used to tell myself things like, "Oh yeah, that guy who's 28 and he's dating a 21-year-old, he's a weirdo." Now I realize, as a 29-year-old, I realize that was pure cope. I realized before I even was 29 that was pure cope, but it's not the case, bro. Look at it, simple business. Okay? She's a beautiful girl. She knows it. She has the choice of being with a guy who's 20, and let's say she's 20. She has a choice of being with a guy who's 20, who still lives at home with his parents, who maybe has a shitty car, who maybe like works a normal job, has not gone to the gym for a long time, doesn't have any muscle, doesn't have any money, doesn't have his own place, can't take her on trips, can't buy her things, doesn't have wisdom and knowledge and stories and scars from being fucking James Bond. He's not interesting, and on and on and on. Or she also has the option, because she's so beautiful, of some guy who's 29 and has been doing everything right for a decade and has a nice car and a nice house and can take her on trips and he has money. And don't stop looking at it as from a guy's perspective. Pretend you're the girl for a sec. All that shit sort of falls apart when you put yourself in the other person's shoes. People love to take the stance of like, oh, those girls are just young and dumb and can't make a decision for themselves and they're being manipulated and whatever. It's kind of a slippery slope to think that way, because you're implying that girls are too dumb to make their own decisions. Well, I don't think that's the case. If somebody's 20 years old, they're an adult. Which is it? Are they empowered and smart, intelligent, powerful, women who can make their own decisions? Or are they hapless, helpless sheep being herded by some mastermind predator? Bam says, accidentally bought tickets to an all-ages concert last week. I wasn't taking any chances in there. Yeah, fuck. 50-50. That's crazy. Mars, I wore a lot of makeup in high school, but I was a scene kid. Okay, that's a bit different. Sleep beckons me. Peace out, Mars. Appreciate you. God bless the cult. Yes, always blessing the cult. Money. Peace out to Chris M. I'm leaving too. It's almost fucking 1 p.m. I look better than in high school and college. Fuck yeah. Till I see you again. Anyone who's had kids looks like they've been ran over by a train, says Shu. Can you do... No, I can't. Sorry, fellow T. Things have to be sorted out. Dating men much older than me has not been great, says Mars. They lack emotional maturity, and I carried their problems like a backpack. Okay, maybe not much older, but maybe a little bit. But also, you're also an adult now, too, so it's probably at the point where, like, you dating a much older man is probably, like, more of a red flag on his... Like, him being single at 40 or something is probably more of a red flag than a guy who's 29 or 30 dating a girl who's 20, is my point. Marco, if you had a girlfriend, would you allow her to have an OnlyFans? And with that, I think it's time to end the stream. The Business of Attraction, a book by Always Marco. Art of the Deal, Art of the Pine, Art of the Gal. 20 and 21-year-olds are like kids to me personally. Yeah, well, To be honest, every girl I've dated, whether even if she's been older than me, has been like a kid to me because of the nonsense that they bring. But perhaps that's just my bad with the girls I've chosen, you know. Every girl I've dated, from the time I was 19 to the time